be done and to formulate a strategy for the future and effectively tap the investment opportunities for real estate and construction industry. And we are really glad to have the presence of the Chief Secretary of the Government of Kerala, Dr. Vishwas Mehta, IAS, with us, and Dr. Christy Fernandez will be also joining for the inaugural part. And we also have the various important sessions. First, with the government authorities, all the major government officials are joining for the session, and also we have the second session where we have the industry leaders to speak on. So, with this introductory note, I would hand over to Sri Deepaka Lachwani, co-chair FICCI Kerala State Council and managing partner Westman Das and Sons, to take over the proceedings. Over to Deepaka Lachwani, sir. Sir, you are muted, sir. You are muted.
A very warm welcome to the star-studded panel of speakers, dignitaries, and the who's who in real estate and construction industry. We have virtually anybody related in the bureaucracy of Kerala also available today. So this is definitely, it portends a very resultant seminar today. And I'm sure as we go back from here, we would be richly rewarded with some concrete discussion, results also as we come out of it. Both Vicky and Pradai have been concerned about the ranking that we've got for the ease of doing business. Both at the center, of course, we've been steadily improving, but one is just not able to digest or even try to figure out how Kerala has reached an all-time low ranking in the ease of doing business. As it is post the COVID virus, we've been having major problems about doing business per se. Business is at an all-time low, and we are looking at both the government as well as the central government, and of course the industry players to come up with something short of a miracle to come out of this tragedy that we are in. So there are a number of speakers today. My only request is that we focus ourselves onto the topic, try to come out with a solution for whatever we are discussing. I shall be talking about each person as they begin their discussion. So I would request Sri Saadullah, who is also the co-chair for FICCI in Kerala, to present the welcome address. Over to Sri Saadullah.
Good afternoon to each and every one of you, and a warm welcome again on behalf of FICCI. Dr. Vishwas Mehta, the chief guest and Chief Secretary of Kerala, Dr. Christy Fernandez, Sri Krishna Kumar, Chairman of CREDAI, Raghuvaran, and the previous Chairman of CREDAI, Deepak, my colleague, P.H. Kuidian, Chairman of the RERA Kerala, and other officials, eminent speakers, and distinguished invitees, and ladies and gentlemen. My job is to welcome all of you, but from a non-professional point of view, I thought we will say a few words about the conference. I don't know whether I can confidently say on ease of doing business in the real estate, but I should say that in my personal experience, the government and the Chief Secretary had been very helpful in some of my own recent construction. I'm not in construction industry, I'm in the hospital industry, but there is some construction. So I thank the government and the Chief Secretary personally on that matter. Real estate sector is one of the most globally recognized sector, and it comprises housing, retail, hospitality, and commercial. The growth of the sector is well complemented by the growth in the corporate environment and the demand for office space as well as urban and semi-urban accommodations. The construction industry ranks third among the 14 major sectors. FDI in the sector includes construction development and construction activities, stood about $42 billion. That's what I got it from some of the records from 2000 to 2020. The impact of the coronavirus brought to a halt, as all of us know, in every field, and perhaps construction field, because of the logistical issues, it might have been more affected. The properties transactions became near zero, and perhaps it is slowly recovering now. The interdependence of supply chains, migration of laborers, cost overruns, liquidity constraints, etc., came and as emerged as some of the looming challenges for us. Non-resident Keralites have contributed considerably, working in the Gulf countries and fueling the economy to a great extent, and that is their remittance accounting for more than 1/3 of the Kerala economy, helping to make the state probably one of the wealthiest. And perhaps the reality is that they are returning back in good numbers back to the country, and probably we have a moral responsibility to accommodate them in various industries when we talk about it, and as we go forward. We are glad to note that the government of Kerala has also undertaken various reforms to help the state on equal footing among other top-ranked states, identified specific areas of improvement in various aspects of doing business. In registration, revenue, municipality building rules, panchayat building rules, etc. However, as it has been mentioned that our ranking in doing the easing business has gone down from 21 to 28. And also some of the recent developments in the state might not have been very helpful. And so we have to build back our confidence. But let me really welcome, our our Chief Secretary, Dr. Vishwas Mehta, who had been always far-sighted in these things and took a special interest to increase. And so his presence itself shows that the government is interested in these activities and how we can get back to a new normal. I also extend, my sincere welcome to Dr. Christy Fernandez, and also my good friends, Mr. Krishna Kumar Rekhuvaran, and Sri P.H. Kudian, Dr. Yajib Sakaria, and also my own colleague. All the eminent speakers will be introduced in the panel by, I think, Rekhu is the moderator, and so I'm not going to introduce the rest of the speakers. And with those words, I once again invite and have good deliberations so that the industry in this area really can improve and get back to a new normal. Thank you very much indeed. Over to you, Deepak.
Sir, you're muted, sir. Deepak Ashwani, sir. Please unmute.
Yeah. We move over to our co-host, Sri S. Krishna Kumar, to be mistaken for the other Mr. S. Krishna Kumar, who once upon took over the mantle of developing the Greater Cochin Development Authority. So, Mr. Krishna Kumar, it's your turn to address the galaxy.
Thank you, Deepak Ashwani. Honorable Chief Secretary, respected Dr. Saudullah, Dr. Christy Fernandez, Mr. Mrigendra Das, the CGM of SI, and our principal sponsor for the day, distinguished dignitaries, and my dear friends. As you all know, land development and construction are an integral and essential part of any thriving economy. This is an earnest attempt by the real estate and construction sectors of Kerala, the second largest employer in the state, which contribute significantly to the exchequer by way of taxes, fees, and charges, to reach out to the decision makers in the government and to apprise them of the very fact that ease of doing business has never reached our doorsteps. It is also to remind that the best ambassadors to bring in investment to the state are the existing investors. For Kerala to climb up the EODB display ranking is to ease our pain. As a co-raiser, last month, CREDAI Kerala had a very useful meeting with the Managing Director of KSIDC, wherein it was proposed to bring in real estate sector into the K-Swift portal so that many of the burning difficulties being faced today could find a possible solution. I recall a year back in a meeting with the national president of JLL. As all of you know, JLL, they are the world leaders in real estate services. He remarked that multinational companies seldom choose offices in Kerala for the single fact that there are quite a lot of buildings, but without an occupancy certificate, or that an existing building finds a real Herculean task to get an occupancy certificate. For all wrong reasons, occupancy certificates are pending. Applicants are always at the mercy of local bodies. Now, under the Panchayat Raj Municipalities Act, there is no official who can overrule the secretary of a local body. It is only the tribunals and the courts that are our only salvage. With the advent of RERA, the timely issue of occupancy certificate has become all the more relevant. Needless to say that significant amount of taxes, fees, charges are paid to government post receipt of OC. As a state with dwindling resources and shortage of space for development, we are still working with outdated master plans, detailed town planning schemes, and such other schemes which are seldom in public domain. I sincerely believe major part of the CRS legislation is so regressive that you couldn't find a parallel anywhere else in the world. Now, coming back to other pain points, the statutory minimum wages in Kerala is rupees 933, the highest in the country. Next, of course, is our neighbor Karnataka with rupees 512, almost half of our statutory minimum wages. Tamil Nadu, it is 455. And as you go north, they get down. Now, militant labor union charges approximately rupees 25 to rupees 30 per square feet of our project cost, which could otherwise have been met by a fraction of cost by mechanized or from our own internal resources. Availability of labor in areas, supply chains are often disrupted. Now, unlike many other states, RERA rules have been unilaterally imposed without giving us an opportunity or giving the stakeholders an opportunity to point out many of the aberrations. Services including PCB consents are arbitrary and poses great challenges to the investors. In conclusion, we believe stakeholders consultative mechanism with government on a periodical basis could bring in cheer to a once robust but now a declining sector, or an effective redressive mechanism to redress our grievance is need of the hour. With these few words, I thank the organizers for the time allotted to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Krishna Kumar. Thank you for raising all the pain points that the industry is currently facing. It was very pertinent to point out the difficulties from RERA, even the remittances, FEMA, we have issues, CRZ, the labor cost, the labor availability, the migrant labor, the settlement of the migrant labor itself, the services, going through a gamut of agencies to get to your final destination is virtually like mission impossible. I have personally seen many a builder waiting outside the chief town planner's office in a very dingy place in Trivandrum and literally shedding tears to get their green signals to construct and go ahead with their licensing. So since we have the chief secretary and he is the head of the bureaucracy, he knows Kerala in and out. I would like to introduce him a little more personally on a personal note. I hope I don't go too far on that. Please excuse me if I overstep my limits, Mr. Mehta. Mr. Vishwas Mehta was born in Dungarpur in Rajasthan. Now, for those people who don't know anything about Dungarpur, there's a very faint relationship between music and Dungarpur. There was a famous cricketer, Mr. Raj Singh, who was connected to the Nightingale of India, Lata Mangeshkar, and of course, music connects the other. Just next to the picture of the chief secretary, I find another Nightingale of Kerala, Elizabeth Kurian. And but for this important discussion today, we could easily convert this into a concert because the chief secretary has the golden voice of Mukesh ji. He is an ardent singer, and I believe he regales an audience with his wonderful singing. More than that, he believes in another 4 M's. These 4 M's are very important, which also suggests how well he knows Kerala, and that too from a point where he started off from the jungles of Wayanad. There I have a connect because my father also started business in the jungles of Kerala in the early 50s. That was in Mananthavadi. So from those days, he has recognized the 5 M's, starting from the missionaries of in Kerala who brought up primary education, and but for whom I don't think Kerala education would be as wonderful as what we find it. Unfortunately, this has not gone beyond primary education, and if secondary education also had a similar fillip, we probably would be the #1 destination for education in Kerala. The second was the matriarchal society in Kerala, which has helped women dominate the families and also empowered them to handle the finances of their families. The only problem is, on the flip side of it, of course, humorously again, we are the largest drinkers in this country, the males. The third M is monarchs, and it is this monarchy, the monarchy which is more a social monarchy, which helped in actually helping the public to come up rather than dominating, ruling them and sending them for wars. It is because of this monarchy we had such beautiful infrastructure, hospitals. All of this has been recognized by Dr. Vishwas Mehta, and reading his biodata, I thought we could have one seminar just for that because he's gone right into the depths of Kerala. And of course, he does recognize the 4th M, and that is the Marxist government, which came into power in 1957 and also was responsible for the land being distributed to landless, so that in Kerala, the land is available for everybody. And the subject for discussion today is land again. From a state where everybody had an individual house or a villa of their own, we are now moved into multi-level structures. And how that change has come across, only Pradai can tell us today. The 5th personal M, of course, is Mukesh. And I would also add the 6th M today, the Middle East, without which I don't think Kerala would be where Kerala is. So with your permission, sir, I'm adding that 5th M to your biodata. Of course, his personal biodata is that he was born in 1961 in Dungarpur. His father was a geology professor, so he was forced to actually study geology himself, and but it was insisted that he goes through the IAS service also, and he was selected to the Kerala cadre in 1986. He has gone through almost all stages of government staffer, right from sitting at the lowest level to the highest level, and as very rightly the chief secretary, and he's the person whom we are looking as a leading light to change the outlook of Kerala and make ease of doing business the best out here. I won't take any further. He has 2 wonderful sons Both of them are connected to the mythical world. One is Ekalavya and the other is Dhruv, and all of them are bounded by love. His wife's name is Preeti. So with that, over to you, sir. We're looking forward to a wonderful speech by you.
Thank you, Deepak ji, for a very generous introduction, I must say. I had also forgotten about the other two M's, and at the cost of being misunderstood sometimes, the Marxist government I referred was the first Modi-Bath government, which actually brought the Education Act as well as the land reform, which you rightly said. I didn't know that the other panelist, Elizabeth, also sings. So someday, after this official assignment, we would like to certainly have a program, concert organized by FICCI. FICCI are very good organizers. I have participated in several of your events, and I must confess that it's very difficult to say no to your very, very professional approach. So thank you so much for inviting me today. I think the greatest challenge for all of us is the COVID. We have to live with it. We have to live around it. We have to live against it. But we have to live. We have to survive. And I think that is what we are trying to do for last 6, 7 months, 8 months, all over India, all over the world. People are trying to outlive COVID, and COVID refuses to go. But, about a year after we go through all this, people will forget this. Let me tell you this also. I always ask a question to a lot of people that people remember World War I, World War II. People remember several armed conflicts in the world, which has taken millions of lives all over the world. But if I ask this question to people by and large, that there is somebody who is the biggest enemy of mankind, who has killed more number of human beings than all the world wars together, all the armed conflicts, all the terrorist actors together, which is that? And very few people are able to answer, and I don't want to guess you guys. It is the mosquito, which has killed more number of human beings on this planet in one form or the other. Now, I'm surprised this time the corona has not been linked to a mosquito, but mosquito has been responsible for killing maximum number of people. Now, as you are all aware that we got for the second consecutive year the best governance state for right reasons. There are a lot of good things which happens in this small place. We have also achieved very high rankings on Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Not many people know about it, but Niti Aayog has appreciated us. Government of India appreciates us. Health and education, all of us know we are at par with Europe. Now, after coronavirus, I feel we are even better than them. After having seen what happened in some of the European countries. Corona, we know the first case in India came to Kerala. From Wuhan, this young student came back. There were no protocols. Nobody knew. It had not spread to Europe. It had not gone to US. The first case from Wuhan came to India in Kerala on 30th January. And all we did was to follow the Nipah protocol. Nipah virus, which was much more deadly, which is also an influenza, but has a very high mortality rate. And all we did was to follow how we contained that virus. We followed the protocols, we followed the quarantine, the contact tracing, isolation, all those things, which even Government of India, unfortunately, was not aware of. They didn't know what it was, actually. There were no known cases in India. From January, February, March, April, till first week of May, we have the best recovery rate in the world. 98% were the recovery rates. We had only 12 cases of corona positive cases and only 2 deaths, which actually was noticed all over the world. What happened after 7th May? Let me recall that the borders were opened, flights were opened. We kept saying people should be tested and brought. We kept saying that we should be able to stagger them out so that, and lockdown was not the solution. We knew that sooner or later people have to move, businesses have to come back. But we wanted adequate care so that we are able to contain it and doesn't allow community spread to happen. For a long time, we were successful. Even after opening the borders, entire month of May, June, July, we were able to contain, as 98% cases were all imported cases, and spread through the contacts was very low. But unfortunately, very soon what happened is few careless people multiplied it and it went out of the hand. The contacts numbers started increasing from 10 to 20 to 40, and finally, somewhere in September and October, we had to admit that community spread has happened. Now, let me share it with you with my whatever experience I have as Home Secretary, as nodal officer of handling this virus. There is no way running away from it. We have to live with it. Our bodies have to fight it out. The police or the health workers will not be able to stand guard on each body. How we guard ourselves, how we conduct ourselves will decide where we are heading towards next time. Yesterday, Cabinet Secretary had called a meeting. The Principal Secretary, the Prime Minister, was asking me that what went wrong in Kerala. Then I said that, you allowed flights. You didn't listen to us. You didn't allow us to follow the protocols. We were able to contain the disease. But fortunately for us, one of the greatest assets we have is that we still have the lowest mortality rate in the country. We have only 0.34%. I every day conduct 1 hour meeting of a core group which comprises of looking at how many ICU beds are available in government and private, how many people are on the ICU beds in government and private, how many are available, what is the oxygen supply, what is the stock, how many people are on ventilators in government and private, and how many are in critical stage. Every day we look this. We check it from district to district. We look at the R0 factors. We look at the doubling rate. We consult the experts, and this is happening on a day-to-day basis. And let me tell you, the same is shared with the Chief Minister on a day-to-day basis, every day, every day. Unfortunately, a very large percentage of my time goes into the crisis management, which is not going away. And the rest of the government business, as usual, refuses to get attention. Now, for us, ease of doing business, we were not doing well. As you know, last time we had improved quite a bit. Why did we come down? You see, let me share it that the government was quite upset. The top people were very upset about this. And the first reaction is what went wrong. And honestly, if you ask me what went wrong, it's very difficult to say at this juncture. But what I can say is that after 35 years of having worked in Kerala and in the bureaucracy, whenever there is something goes wrong, let us blame the government. But then that doesn't serve the purpose. You see, all said and done, we are also part of the governance. When ease of doing business rankings are decided, are others not part of it? Are the industry not a part of it? Are the people who conduct the survey and collect the feedback and people who give feedback not part of it? Can government alone sustain it? Can government alone improve the rankings? We can facilitate. It is like the tourism business, where government has actually no business to be. Survey sector, we should be a facilitator. We should be a provider. We should accelerate the process of implementation and approvals. And a healthy competition among states will reveal how Maharashtra, Gujarat, and others have facilitated industry and improved their rankings. Kerala is not far behind. We have done a lot of innovative things. Unfortunately for us, this doesn't get noticed for whatever reason. And when it comes to giving feedback to anybody coming to Kerala, we are unfortunately the most critical of our own people. It's like the crabs keep pulling down each other. And that is what is very, very unfortunate. I'm being very, very frank in this forum. The reason is that I'm not a Malayali, but I've become a Malayali. I have made a house here. I speak Malayalam. I can read and write and speak Malayalam. Only thing I've not learned is the Malayalam songs, because Mukesh continues to be so close to my heart that I have decided that let me first master all the songs which he has sung. Thereafter, I'll go to Malayalam songs. So next 6th could be Malayalam after Mukesh. So I would like to say that all the innovative processes which we have started, let us not lose sight of them. Let us make full use of them. Officers, by and large, let me assure you, in Government of Kerala, irrespective of the government which comes into power, my worthy batchmate and the chairman of RERA, Kurian, PH Kurian is here. He was my predecessor in Revenue Department. He has also dealt with real estate and land issues for a long time. And today he is heading RERA. And we are a land-starved country, Kerala, no doubt about it. And we have certain challenges which many states do not have. We have a high density of population. We have high wages, as pointed out by Mr. Krishna Kumar. But then we have very high output also. Our skilled labor, nobody can match. I compare it with my own home state, Rajasthan. A person who works in Secretariat for only 2 hours, his output is better than a person works in Secretariat in Rajasthan for 6 hours. I have seen it with my own eyes. It is like a frog in a well situation where a frog in a well doesn't know what is lying outside. How big is the universe? There are oceans, there are skies, there are several planets and universe and galaxies outside the well. We have to come out of that. We have to facilitate and actually and ensure that our strengths are realized. What are our strengths? Manufacturing perhaps is not our strength. We don't have. Why is the labor high? Because we don't have young people here. We know that last 30 years our population has not grown. Our young people are all abroad. Whatever remittances are coming is not going into manufacturing sector. It's not even going into primary sector. It is going where? Partly into buying gold, partly into making houses, partly into buying cars, partly into getting people married. And very few of them are business-related activities. They are in the service sector, certainly. Tourism, we have done extremely well. We lost out because of few reasons. We all know that. But we have also the great resilience to come back. 2018 floods, which happened after 100 years, is a remarkable example of this. Nobody, despite having 47 rivers, I come from a water-starved place called Rajasthan. For getting 1 bucket of water, people have to walk 10 kilometers. I have never seen so much of water in my life. I've never seen so much greenery in my life. When I came here, I was astounded by the greenery and the water, availability of water in Kerala. And despite all this, despite having 7 months of rainfall, nobody ever talked about floods here. And suddenly it happened in 2018. And, let me tell you the dilemma of all this. Even after 7 months of rainfall, 3 times more than the national average, so much of greenery and water, we still supply water, drinking water in tankers for the rest of 3 months. So I think somewhere down the line in Kerala, we have not been able to really match the resources which we have. We have perhaps taken it for granted. Now, the young people are not there. You see, I handled 4 lakh of migrant labor this time. One of the first words which struck to me when Honorable Chief Minister mentioned, he said, Atithi Tolarigal. I had never heard this word in any other state. No other state talked to them as Atithi Tolarigal, as guest workers. They continue to say that guest workers. Did you ever see them marching on the streets? Did you see them going back hungry, starving, dying? How many of them died of COVID? How many of them were actually without a single penny in their pocket, was actually starving or dying? No, we didn't allow that to happen. Kerala has certain things. We are much more human state. We are much more equitarian state. We are much more sensible and sensitive state compared to other. When it comes to business, same thing applies. We might be slow in giving approvals, but eventually you will get it. And when you get it, nothing will stop you. This K-Swift, in which the real sector has been brought in, I'm very glad that, now we have all the regulator. Now we have the regulator in place. We have also set up the RERA tribunal, appellate authority above it. So things are falling in place. But I think you can clap only with both hands. You cannot expect government to do everything and rest of the people, just use any opportunity to blame the government for not being able to do this. Ease of doing business is a wholesome exercise. It is something which can result into win-win. But for that, everybody has to be together. It has to be a team effort. From government side, let me assure you, after the rankings came down, I think I must have had at least 10 meetings, corona or no corona, 10 meetings, and every aspect of this we had gone through as to where are we slipping out. And let me tell you, by December, you will see the difference. I assure you, I assure the FICCI, I assure the doyens of industry today who are participating in this, I assure the real estate people involved in real estate and construction, which is one of the worst hit during this time, that you will see the difference by December, corona or no corona. And we are committed to it. We will go ahead with this. We will not let it lie down. My only request to the members of industry is that please stand by the government when we take something. All the time pulling us down, all the time blaming the government for not doing their job will not help us. You have to do your part. What is that part? That little introspection is required from your side. Government cannot tell you what to do. Government can only facilitate whatever you want to do. And without industry, how can economic generation, economic wealth can happen? How can Kerala grow without by just overlooking all the business? Tourism has suffered a lot. We all know that. Small MSMEs have suffered a lot. We all know that. You see, the kind of assistance which you are giving to a whole lot of people who ran out of employment and livelihoods is legendary. But then what happens to the business? Business all over the world has suffered. Is it Kerala only which has suffered? Has other states not suffered? This time, I was telling the Honorable Chief Minister, I said, when we had 100 cases becoming 150, we had a triple lockdown. Now today, we are adding 1,000, 5,000 cases every day. And there's no triple lockdown because we have all realized that lockdown is not the solution. So what did we do? We did something which no other state has done. Let me tell you this. Elections are announced already. Ward level committees are gone. Local self-governments, all politicians are busy in canvassing. But what we are doing? We have appointed 1,300 sector magistrates to look after each local bodies. We are not going for a lockdown. What we have decided is they will go around in their area's jurisdiction and lock down a business which doesn't comply with the COVID restriction. That is the only way. A shop locked down in one locality which endangers the life of others will be a good lesson for others. But then, a literate society like Kerala, a highly aware society like Kerala, does it require actually? Today I was looking at the figures. 71% in Kerala, all the violations which are recorded are still mask wearing. In Rajasthan, it's not astonishing. If this number is there, I understand. Because initially they thought corona was a big wall, which moves around and it can hit you anywhere. Because illiterate people, unaware people. In Kerala, with so much of literacy, do we have to tell them that please look after yourself, please wear a mask, please sanitize, please ensure that you follow the social distancing? Does it require? Then what's the point of having all the education and literacy in this country? So my dear friends, I will end here. I have a series of other meetings. I have perhaps talked too frankly about certain things, but I personally feel that the growth or the education starts from when we start introspection. We start looking inside us, and then we start looking, and then we realize that we have to stop looking outside the well now. The time has come. Kerala, let me tell you, after having spent 35 years, could have been the island of prosperity, showing to all other states that this is how prosperity, development, growth should happen. It has already done in Human Development Index, no doubt about it. But Human Development Index has happened basically because of our hundreds and hundreds of years of legacy, which you have explained as 3 M's. It has happened not because of the government, but it has happened because of the legacy we got. But what have we done with all the biggest strengths we have? Despite being the best governance state, if we still have a poor ranking in ease of doing business, how does it help us? It doesn't help us economically. If 1 lakh crore coming from NRIs doesn't get invested into any economic generation activities, whom should we blame? Should we blame only the government? Or should we blame the government? Or should we blame the banks? Or should we blame the individuals? Or should we blame the business environment around us? Blaming is very easy. It doesn't help.
Compared to this year's business. And it's only in Kerala that, like you said, we are sitting and talking about things and not doing anything about it. It's time to let go and start attacking the problem, catch the bull by the horns, I guess. And on the ease of doing business, we are aware that the industries department is taking all steps, particularly on K-Swift and other matters, to actually bring industry back into Kerala And like you have promised that by December, the government is definitely going to make a difference. We are aware that the Chief Minister is on a daily basis watching the situation and encouraging people to make Kerala an industrial state also. The skill of Malayalis has been recognized. The attitude that has to change. And I think we should, from this very minute, start changing our attitude towards the government and help the government or stand with the government and take the state forward and get its rightful dues. The resilience of Kerala is known, be it floods or anything. We have always fought back. We have come back so fast. People haven't even realized what happened yesterday. So that way, there's no point on crying over spilt milk. The only way is to go forward. We look forward to many more interventions from your side, sir. And thank you once again for having covered this webinar with a lot of glory. Thank you once again, sir. Our next speaker, I think somebody wanted to say something. Can I go ahead?
So Deepak Ishwani, sir, I think that there's a technical problem with the Christy Fernandez. So we are trying to sort it out. So we will conclude the inaugural session now and move to the second part of the interaction with the.
I think we should do that. Raghu, you'll take over.
I'll take over.
So, okay. So, like, Raghu sir, there one more thing also. We have the principal sponsors of the program. The SBI is also with us. So, before moving to the very important next session, I would ask our technical team to just run the video of 2 minutes for the SBI. Then we will move to Sri P.H. Kurian sir, Chairman Rara, and thereafter one after another other important government officials. So just now we will just listen to that video for just 2 minutes. Then we will move to Sri P.H. Kurian.
No. ഇനി ഫോൺ എടുക്കരുത്.
Sir, you want to say that you are unmuted, sir? You're muted. Deepak Ashwani, sir, please unmute yourself. So, Sri Raghuchandran, sir, you can now take over as the moderator of the session. As everybody knows, Mr. Raghuchandran Nair, he is the Managing Director of SI Properties Private Limited, and he is also the President of Trivandrum Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Convener General of Past Person Kradai, National Kradai, and a very active member in the industry and the construction and the real estate sector. And he's also a member on the advisory board, South Zone, LIC India, and also very important post in the various government bodies in Trivandrum, Chairman and Producers Council Committee, and various important bodies of the government of Kerala also. Over to Sri Raghuchandran sir to take over the session. And we can start with the Sri P.H. Kurian sir initially, then thereafter one by one.
Yeah. Good evening to all of you. It was quite pleasant to listen to the Chief Secretary opening up about his feelings about what is happening in Kerala. And I think, it gave us some insight of the issues which government is grappling with. But nevertheless, there are still issues which is gripping the industry. And that is why we have always been taking up with the government on various occasions on the various different fronts of the problems we face with the industry. And as I know in the whole thing is that we are today supposed to be talking to, if you look at it, today we have our panel should have been Srimati Sharda Muralidharan, by which is not there, and Dr. Usha Titus is not to be seen in this panel, and except for Mr. Kurian, who is always there in every panel whenever he's wanted. I've not seen Mr. Rajamanikam, Mr. Venkatasapati, and Mr. Mir Mohammed and Renu Raj. So I shall we start with Mr. Kurian, hoping that all others will join us in between. Can we go ahead with that, Savio? Savio, shall I go ahead with that? So I'll probably move to Mr. Kurian because we have already been interacting with Mr. Kurian we have already been interacting with Mr. Kurian. Can you hear me, Savio?
Yes. Kurian sir is muted.
Yeah,
He has to unmute. Yeah.
Kurian sir is there, but others have yet to join in. So you need to tell me whether they have come.
No. Now Mir Mohammed Ali sir has joined, and Rajamanikam others will be joining. Yeah. Mir Mohammed sir joined. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll
start with Kurian sir.
So I'll start with Mr. Kurian. Sir, as you are aware that we have constantly been in touch with you with the coming of the Real Estate Regulatory Authority, even though it came earlier in India. But with Kerala, we have been talking to you since January 2020, and a lot of issues have been thrashed out, and we still look forward to that, that will come to a reasonably healthy implementation of the Act. And so that, as I have been telling you all the time, the Real Estate Regulatory Authority is not only to regulate, but also to develop the construction sector. And your involvement in making sure that all the necessary things, that ingredients that are required to complete a project and also to hand over a project should be ensured by the Real Estate Regulatory Authority, not leaving only to the builders, because builders alone will not be able to fight it out and get it, though we have been doing a lot of constant follow-ups. With your recent meeting, I think those who are listening to this, Mr. Kurian, when we met him last time, along with his member, Srimati Prida Menon, we have raised some issues regarding the agreement, the inconsistency of the agreement with the present scenario, and also not in tune to the building rules, and also not in tune to the what is being followed in Kerala, and also some confusions regarding regulations. And he has agreed to have a meeting with our members, along with the the legal member, Srimati Prida Menon, and her team, and which we expect that to happen soon. And also we have taken up with him the issue regarding the registration of agreement, because we have a problem here. As per the rules, when you collect 10%, beyond that, before you can collect, you should register the agreement. But considering the present scenario with no flight connectivity for NRIs to come across to sign the agreement, neither we have a problem with the NRKs who are also unable to come because of the restrictions imposed on this area. And also within Kerala, we have this problem of the aged above 65 years who doesn't want to travel out of their home to sign agreements. So he has agreed to consider that, and say that told us that probably we will try to get an affidavit signed by the allottees, confirming that they are willing to release the payments as per the milestones, and that they will definitely ensure that they will sign the agreement as and when the time comes. So we are waiting to get an order from him, which I think he's in the process of considering that. Now we also brought, I think Mr. Das is in this panel also. I mean, he was there at the beginning, that we have brought a notice on Mr. Kurian that banks, especially SBI, has been insisting that 3 accounts have to be opened by a builder. And that they were very insistent that without that, they will not consider taking up the account of RERA account. So we brought this to the attention of Mr. Kurian, who we told that as per the Act, there is no stipulation that 3 accounts have to be opened, and only 1 account need to be operated for the construction purpose, where 70% amount should have gone for the construction. So he has agreed to give a clarification. Even the minutes have made it very clear that only 1 account need to be opened. So I think, Mr. Das, you need to take, if you are here, you need to take note of this, because the regulatory authority has confirmed to us that only a bank account for taking care of 70% of payment is only required. And the rest of the accounts can be maintained by the builder if he wants to. Now, and also he has also said that he simplified the real estate sector in such a manner that they are in the process of trying to give registration at the earliest. And he said he has listed out a couple of documents to be given, and the veracity of the documents will not be looked into because that responsibility lies with the applicant. So the list of documents has not been listed out in the minutes which came out. We request you to list it out so that there is clarity in this matter. Then we also said that that there is a confusion regarding which I think the agreement will take care of it. There's a common area registration has to be done. On one side, we say that common area should be allotted to the allottees, and the other side, we are saying common area should be registered to the association. So there has to be a clarity on this, because one side you say it should be allotted to the allottees, and the other side you say the common area totally should be registered in the name of the association. And that amount, the registration amount for that huge volume of the common area to the association is very huge, which who is going to bear the cost, and is the association, how are they going to bear the cost? Because the association, when formed, may not be having the necessary funds with them. And the other one which we talked to you about is also the possibility of looking at the online registration, whether will be possible for us to take up, whether we can submit everything on online and get an online registration from you without coming to office, so that things will be much more easier. I think he's done quite a lot of work in this area, and I want to hear from Mr. Kurian to all these issues which we raised up, and we are quite sure that he'll be able to come up with solutions, because he's always been coming up with solutions. And over to Mr. Kurian for looking into this.
Thank you, Rehu. Dear friends, I know all of them except the SBI PM, Mrigendra Das. I have seen him in photos or TV. I think before he joined, I left the service. So Das Babu, I am PH Kurian. I have, are you in Oriya?
No, sir, I am from Patna.
You are from Patna. Okay, but I had some connection with those areas, so I thought you may be in Oriya. Okay, right, you are the only person unknown to me in the screen, which I am seeing. So I'm seeing for the first time. Welcome to this meeting, because you are new to me. Rehu has said the regulatory issues with the authority, which we bilaterally have discussed. I was thinking that the other issues as regulatory and development authority, that the other issues that we are facing, the builders are facing, which has come to my notice, because in my work I come to note in the cases, as well as from their talking with me, a lot of issues that they are facing from other authorities, which needs to be solved. Now, ease of doing business as a word started when I was industry secretary, and in Government of India, those DIPP secretaries those days, I used to attend the first meeting around 10 years back, where ease of doing business components and its constituents were being discussed. And they devised probably CAA and some consultant together issued something, and they started rating states, and because the World Bank format of ease of doing business for countries, and then we did it for states. Kerala has, during when I was industry secretary, also did not fare very well. We did improvement, and Kerala, like my batchmate Vishwas Mehta said, there are some issues with us also, and there are so many positive points, there are so many negative points also. But those negative points we had to harp upon every time, and then correct it. There are last 10 to 15 years of my experience in government, there's a lot of improvement. A lot of things like what he said, a lot of e-governance has happened, and I also was IT secretary for around 7 years. I know a lot of improvements have happened in that side. Maybe some more improvement can happen, but these are basically a stage-wise process. Everything can't be done together. But the type of issues that we face with the authority, the first one I'll say, the authorities thing is online going. We are most probably statutorily we have a 1 year time. So that 1 year time end on December 31st as far as Kerala RERA is concerned. I hope to introduce the web portal of KERA will go online before that. So development is around 50% complete. So we will 50-60% complete. We will be linking with the bank and all that. Payment gateway by that time. We will host it in the state data center, and almost all that thing is going on. So let us hope to have in the new year, we will have a portal where everything go online. But I would also say that for you, those who have applied, and the progress has to be uploaded by you once the web portal comes. Now you have all given the physical application, which needs to be put on the web portal once the portal is ready. You will have a big job to put all your projects on the web portal at that time for your customers to know and also to fulfill the law. And now whatever I need to do, which we have discussed, we will do. The small things which as just a hurdle which need to be solved from my side will be done. And you promise that you will sit with my member and the law officer to make changes in the rules where the application format, the agreement format, some correction needs to be done. I don't know whether you have done it. It has never reached me. The moment that is corrected and given to me, I can send it to the government and asking for amendment in the rule and to make that notification, I will do. So you work it on and then give me. Now the other issues that we generally face being Kerala is the type of problem that you face on from the regulators and the service providers. The regulator there is, one is the LSGs who give you the permit and then ultimately give you the permit renewal and ultimately give the occupancy certificate. They are the biggest regulator as far as is concerned. Then you have the environmental clearance, then you have the coastal zone clearance, when you have the service providers like the water, electricity. And then there is another big agency that you need to deal with is the revenue people to get the land records and all that corrected. These are some of the, then the fire services to get the fire NOC, then the pollution control board. These are the 5 to 6 agencies that you are facing problem. Others are maybe okay. Now there are issues in that thing. One of the issues is the building rule, which you have been famously working with the government to change the building rules. Some changes have happened. Unfortunately, in the rule for last 10-15 years, I've been arguing when I was in the government that there are a lot of illogical things in those rules, which needs to be worked out. I don't know whether you people are simply bothered about the FAR relaxation and some spacing and all that. But in addition to that, the rule has got a lot of illogical thing. When we were working on the ease of doing business 10 to 12 years back, always I used to fight on that thing. So many illogical things are kept into that thing, which is being Kerala, you doubt everybody and asking them to put a lot of records and all that, which is very unnecessary. And the electricity board, before giving connection, lot of records. Those things needs to go. You need to fight. The moment somebody gets a house number or something, it should go to electricity board, who should go and connect. Electricity board is a seller of a product, who should go and sell it at the earliest and make money. That is not the way we think. They are thinking like a regulator. Their regulator is the electrical inspectorate, not the electricity board. Electricity board behaves as a regulator these days. This is the problem. They are a seller. They should go and sell it at the earliest. I don't know why they do delay at all. Why are you not able to get some sort of a service level agreement with them as a public? Why don't you go to the Electricity Regulatory Authority that once you apply, they also have the right to service act. In 30 days they have to give connection. But I see there a lot of time they are taking, because when the cases comes, part of the delay in completing the process is from the electricity board, from the water authority. Water authority delays in giving their connection. Electricity board gives their delay. The electrical inspectorate is the one probably I've seen that they are very active. I've seen 2 regulators in Kerala who become very, very prompt and active is electrical inspectorate and the factories and boilers. These people have become very responsive in last 10 years. In my experience in government, they have become very changed lot. These 2 regulators have become very changed lot. But not the fire services guy, not the LSG per se. So the LSG people, you give for your occupancy certificate, you give your completion certificate, they are taking months together to give the occupancy. They don't visit your site, citing so many reasons, that thing, this thing, it takes months together. That is going to create a lot of adjudication and litigation later because of the RERA law now. For delay, they can ask for compensation. So you guys are going to suffer because of that delay in timely service provision by those service providers. That's a great impact of this law on you. So you need to work with these agencies to make them more open, make them more responsive, make them bring them under the timely service and all that. So there are certain things which you list it out. I'm again telling you, last time when we met also, say you list out these things as a development authority. We should be able to write to the government that these are certain things which we need to look in for the development of this industry. That's the type of development role that I have. There are other states which have started 2-3 years back. They have also started, even Andhra RERA has gone into fixing standards of materials to be used in construction. They started working on that. The other day, the chairman was talking to me. They started fixing material standards which we use for whatever construction, because we need to ultimately sort of grade the builders. So those builders who are using a certain standard materials can be graded. All those things are possible under this act. So we need to slowly work on that thing. We are now a year old. Did a little part of our initial work, but for COVID, all these things should have been in time. COVID has eaten us up in that way. Otherwise, a portal should have been ready. We should have been much more ready with our services, much more better fashion. Did not happen because of COVID. Now, the permit. One of the things, I don't know whether who is hearing me, neither there is a LHD principal secretary, nor the director of Panchayat, nor the director of municipalities or Aban. None of them are hearing. Now, I find that the building rules, formats are not being followed. Every Panchayat is issuing occupancy certificate the way they want. Municipalities are giving it the way they want, not as prescribed in the rule. That creates a lot of problem for us. The prescribed formats are not being used. Time limits are not being followed. You got a provision in the law to increase our ease of doing. We made, the government made in the rule that these are deemed occupancy certificate. How many of you are able to produce a deemed certificate letter to me saying that they have received 15 days is over? That is sufficient for me, the occupancy. Nobody could produce that letter. So no Panchayat or municipal secretary gives that receipt to you. Yes, I have received the completion certificate and it is 15 days over now. Your second letter acknowledgement is not coming. Once that comes, I could have treated it as occupancy certificate. It's not. So the deeming provision is not being fulfilled by the LSC secretaries, which you should raise with the government. I can also raise. You raise first, then I'll take. Then the other thing which with Mr. Mrigendra Lal Das, the SBI, I heard nationally, you are asking for 3 accounts. The law doesn't give you any power to regulate the real estate accounts. Law doesn't give you a power. If your consumer wants a number to be opened for 70% of the account, I don't know why are you asking for 3 accounts. If there are other banks, if every bank is insisting, I don't know, maybe nationally we have to work it out. This is your internal issue. I know in the Delhi when we had the chairman's meet has come, SBI was presenting a presentation there in Lucknow last year when I attended. They say you keep entire receivables, you come to account, you transfer 70% to the designated account, and a third account when they withdraw, it goes to a third account. The real estate law doesn't give you any such powers to insist that 3 accounts should be opened. I have not seen any enabling provision. Bank is not a regulator of this money. It is the responsibility of the builder to transfer the 70% of his receipt to the designated account. He has the freedom to open an account in another bank and open the account for the designated account in your branch and transfer that 70% to your account. But probably you did this because I was also a development banker once. You did this because if that 30% remain in your account, probably using that as the contribution from the builder, you could have given an overdraft or something using this account for which you need to know. That was the purpose probably. You keep the 30% with you, that account is with you, 70% is with you. When it goes, it comes to your account so that you could have given a short-term loan in the form of overdraft or something to them. The 70% which goes to the account, till that is to be recovered, the developer may be able to avail a loan from your account. So if you are able to market in that fashion, those developers, those promoters who want to use that your loan window for the 70% money, it may be very beneficial. So you need to market that 3 account issue, saying that we will give you advances at a lower, whatever lowest interest rate that you can offer to them as a working capital loan or an overdraft or something. If you market like that, they may agree to these 3 accounts. Otherwise, legally, you cannot ask that you have to open 3 accounts. A customer comes, he is otherwise a customer with you. He says, I want one more this is not a savings bank account, it is a current account. I don't know how you refuse it. I don't know. You may have your laws, but the real estate law doesn't insist that the banker should have 3 accounts. Banker need not ensure that the 70% of the money comes into the designated account. That's not the job of the banker under the Act. It is the duty of the developer to transfer 70% of the receipt to the designated account, and based on the chartered accountant certificate which is available with him, he will withdraw the amount. If anybody withdraw without construction that amount, there is a heavy penalty on the developer. That penalty cannot be imposed by the bank. It can only be imposed by the RERA. So you need not play as a regulator. There is my personal opinion. You are a banker. You know your business. You do accordingly. I am only saying that there is no legal necessity for you to open 3 accounts. But your central office itself has decided this method of 3 accounts. I know they have presented it in Lucknow in last December. So it's up to you. You decide. Otherwise, they can go to the other banks which are opening 1 account. That's all I need to say about that. So about the other regulations, like the environmental clearance, I was environment secretary. I know the type of problem that you face. But fortunately, I can tell you, projects of the real estates have not faced much problem from the Kerala Environment Impact Assessment Authority. The problems are mostly with the quarries and all that. Mostly your projects are generally a run through. Not much of difficulty I have not seen. Mr. Mir Mohammed is available. He may be hearing it. I have not seen during my 1 year and a quarter I was there as environment secretary. The real estate builders have not faced any severe problem from the environmental department at that time. On the coastal, again a strict law in Kerala. The unfortunate thing came. They are also being big established industries. You should follow the law. Kerala is a place where everybody is look what the other man is doing. But he is not doing is not his lookout. What my neighbor is violating is the lookout of me. That is the Kerala's issue. And in the all ease of doing issue, the officers are getting into problem because the neighbor is making complaint. It is not the regulator officer who is going and making complaint. I was in service for so many years. What they happen is regulatory officer again is a complaint will come that he is corrupt and he has taken money and he has become a party to the illegal thing which is doing by X and Y. And they will send a copy of that letter to the vigilance also. Every such complaint, copy to DYSP vigilance, copy to director vigilance. And when our friend Jacob Thomas was receiving such a copy, he used to act and terrorize everybody. No, also true. I have no hesitation in saying that in public. So these are the things which, over a period of time, we have to also prove. You as an industry say that these are the type of complaints came, and many of them were bogus. You also list it out. So many complaints came to us, and give the government a figure that against us so many complaints came, and so many of those complaints was bogus. You can also keep a list. Against each one of you, so many complaints came. After 3 months, it was a bogus thing. You as CREDAI or FICCI, list out that thing and tell the people of Kerala, saying that this is a place of bogus complaints. And that retarded the development, that retards the industry. That needs to prove. So the industry association like FICCI or CAI or your CREDAI, everybody needs to work on that line. These bogus complaints. And then come out in public, saying that out of the 1,000 complaints received on regulatory issues in Kerala, only 5 or 10 had some meaning, rest are, can you do that? I don't think so, because Kerala has some specific issues because of our habitational issues. The real estate industry, when it was developing in the 90s and the early 2000s, the biggest complaint used to come is that a flat builder used to dig the place and the neighbor's house is in peril. That was the reason by which many of the activists started calling you as what is the name they use it? Most derogatory name? Mafia. Real estate mafia. Real estate mafia was used. So one of the person who was regularly using that word, I asked him, why are you calling them mafia? Then that person, I don't want to name them, all of you know, very big activist, lady. So she said, I am raising this because so many people comes and tell me, I also personally seen this, they dig up for the flat and the neighbor's building is at peril. There was a collapse, landslide happened. Then they also said, they accumulated land using gundas. They purchased a land, a small piece of land. The next neighbor's land using gundaism they purchased. These are the two examples. So they named every fellow as a mafia based on that one or two thing. I remember I requested the CM to change that. Mention this language on the launching of RERA on January 1st this year, because this is where you should have actually worked in Kerala, saying that where one or two such people have done, somebody has threatened using some gundas and forcibly purchased some land. Somebody did an unscientific excavation, created one or two issues, based on which all decent builders were named as real estate mafias. Then among you, now that I am hearing cases, there are some people who are fly-by-night operators who made money from people and left. Today also I heard 3-4 cases. There were a few. Now you separate them and the decent people come out. That will come in another 1 year of our portal. People without a case, developers without a case, developers who are following the law, developers who are carrying out the things in time. If at all there is a delay, it is beyond their reason. That type of developers will come out in a year to 2 years time, maybe 21 end. All these people who have done some wrong will be known, and those who have done, vast majority of the builders are good, very good, and they will be known to the people. So there will be a lot of chaining will happen in coming 1 or 2 years. Coming 2 years it will happen, and then you will have a lot of your issues get solved with that transparency. Yesterday I had a case of Jain Housing. Jain Housing, their project in Trikakara, not the Maradu municipality thing. There, the respondent, the builder comes and says, all the clearances, all the certificates were delayed because the buyers themselves filed complaints against the builder, and their certificates got delayed by years because buyers were not satisfied with the quality. The fire services got delayed by 3 years because the consumers were staying there. They started staying there from 2016. They started complaining that the fire services escape and all that is not according to standard. They made complaints. They went to Human Rights Commission. They went to High Court, and the fire thing got delayed. So the customers themselves were the reason for the delay. This is what the builder wanted to say. Now, whereas while perusing the record, I find that because the standard was, there were some mistakes in their standard. They were not following the requirements of fire. So you need to also change. Your people also need to see that each one of them, there may be a good number of people who are doing this. Somewhere some mistakes have happened. And being a Mallu with all sorts of litigation and knowledge in his mind, he goes and fail. Everywhere he goes to Law Ayukta, he go to Human Rights, and at the same time he will go to Consumer Forum, he will come here also. So now one more forum has come, he will file one here also. So those environment, we need to learn how to manage this, how to manage. Today I found a news that the Haryana RERA has asked the customer relation departments of builders to be trained to have better relation with the customer. You remember when we first met in Ernakulam, that time itself I was predicting that your customer relation department has to improve, your officials have to behave much better, they need to be training. Today RERA has issued a formal order directing the builders that they should conduct this training. Yesterday that order was issued, today it's available in the news. I read it today. This is a thing which I have been telling in last December or November when we met in Ernakulam. So those things will improve a regulatory environment. These complaints are small complaints will actually keep the mind of the regulating official murky. See, look, against lot of complaints against this guy. Let me be very cautious. Let me be very cautious. Let me discuss with my superiors. Let us go and inquire. That mindset has to go. So there is my batchmate and chief secretary was saying the same thing. Both hands have to clap to get the sound. So you also need to make some amendments so that this regulatory environment, the regulatory officials improves. Anyway, we are not like some other states where you can have a bulk deal and then get everything done. Kerala is not going to be so. Kerala is much more open, it's much more transparent. So when your side is more transparent, that transparency will come through. And the RERA will be able to help you in grading you that this is a more transparent guy. This is a guy without issue. That's one thing which I can do, and I intend to do it in around 2 years' time. So I have so many issues with the building rules. Building rules needs a lot of amendment. I wrote 1 or 2 letters to government saying that we need to work on this thing. The occupancy certificate is for occupancy certificate for a real estate project is the project completion, not the building completion. If I construct a 500 square feet building, my occupancy certificate is the building completion as per building plan. But a real estate project is not a building completion. Because you have made an offer to somebody else. I construct my house, it's my house. If there is a shortcoming, it's my lookout. Now, if the panchayat or municipality started thinking, why need to work with the panchayat and municipality, the new panchayat presidents and they will come. These development activities are their bread and butter. A flat in a panchayat will give them annually, let's say, so many lakhs of tax. They should realize encouraging a multi-storied building or a gated community in their place gives them more tax. So that you need to work with the. I would definitely do that. I would definitely call up all the panchayat presidents along with their secretaries next year, the new set of people who comes, saying that the real estate development is good for them. Many of them today visualizes that these developments are not good for the panchayat, not good for my rest of people. That is the attitude of those elected representatives that you need to change. When they regularly interact with their officers, they'll give, no, these flat coming, there will be a lot of complaints, there will be a lot of vehicles, that type of attitudes they remember. When I asked KSIDC MD and Industry Secretary, I remember once the suburban panchayats of Ernakulam, I called them as IT secretary. I said, you try to bring in an IT park in each one of your panchayat, you would get huge tax. And that is 1 or 2 panchayats. I said Kalamasheri panchayat, Kalamasheri municipality, if they with the Lulu Mall and a few IT park, if they bring it in that way, I was calculating and telling them, you would be able to give 5,000 rupees to every poor family every month. That's the type of money that you are going to generate as a tax in your place. That competition among the panchayat has to come. I have seen this among the local bodies of China. Their local bodies compete to bring investment. So you have to create that situation. I think I have taken a longer time. Others need to interact.
Yeah, I think we need to bring it down because we got a lot of.
I am through. I'm through because there are other people also sitting other than the builders. There were,
because we need to.
Ashwani was there. Brajendra Lal Das was there. Others were there. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm sorry that I have taken so more time. Whatever in mind just came out.
You have added a lot of points. We have taken note of that. So I think next, we have to come to Mr. Mir Mohammed, because Mir, I think, is busy because he's with the CM's office and he has to, in addition, he's handling also the KCZMA. So I think, Mir, welcome. I think you are there. I hope you are there.
Yeah, I can hear you, Raghu. Hi.
Yeah. Mir, okay, there's nothing much. I think we have only 2-3 points because we are trying. You have been trying your best to bring in clarity to the CRZ issues. And I found that, that a lot of, you are one of the prompt persons. Whenever we bring issues to your notice, you have been acting on it fast. And like last time also, which I've been saying, with the MOEF saying that 2.5 FAR is there, and with the 2 decisions of the DLF and the Kent thing, with the 2.5 FAR is, I think, a settled issue. I think instead of getting people to drag to the court, I think maybe there must be about 8 or 9 or less than 10 cases which can be disposed of taking this into account. So that is one area I think you need to rule so that we can cut down the litigation time and bring in clarity on this particular aspect. The other area which I think we really want looking forward is that 2019 they brought in the new CRZ coastal zone regulations, amended regulations. So here we strongly believe that if the Kerala government should push it hard, because the coastal zone management plan is yet to be ready. Unless we get the plan, we will not be able to get the benefits of the 2019 regulations. And once this regulation come into existence, as all of you know, the FAR also goes up from 2.5 to 4. And there's a lot of rumor going around regarding saying a lot of buildings are violated and about 8,000, 10,000 numbers. All these are worrying things which can bring down the morale of investment to the state. So these are 3-4 areas I think since you are sitting in a very pivotal position now, and also as a CRZ, KCZMA person. Over to you, Mir, just to take care of this thing so that you are also busy. We can probably go through, and any other points which you think is worthwhile to be said, please go ahead.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Raghu, for the invite. And first of all, my regards to my former boss, PH Kurian sir. I did my entire collectorship under him. Great person to work under. Anyway, so 2-3 regarding the specific points that you've raised. Yeah, that FAR issue is currently under examination. As you know, I had asked for a bunch of documents so that we could do an independent examination at our end. And I think the documents are in. And we are going over it at the authority. So we'll have a conclusion to that soon. Regarding the CZMP, yeah, I understand that it has been delayed. Unfortunately, I mean, this sort of goes without saying right now that we wanted to get it done much earlier, but this COVID has sort of put a little spoke in the works, simply because there were some field studies that were required. And those field studies could not have been conducted during the months of May and June when we originally intended. But anyway, right now we have received the draft CZMPs of almost, we have received the draft CZMPs of 7 districts already. The remaining districts are on their way. And the moment that comes in, we will be able to then start the public hearing process very soon. So CZMP 2019 is a major priority for the government and the department as well, for obvious reasons, because it gives a lot of leeway, especially for tourism activities on the coastline. So we are following that up. I'm having fortnightly reviews of the work, and we've seen significant progress in the past month and a half. So CZMP would be happening very soon. Then with regards to, I think generally these are the 2 points I think cases. One more thing is that we are moving very quickly towards getting online applications for coastal zone management, for coastal zone CRZ clearance, so that we don't have this whole concept of sending in applications and then following up with individual officers, etc. So the same way that for environmental clearance one can see their current status online, we're building a platform right now so that anyone applying for CRZ clearance can see exactly where this thing is pending, and also there is more transparency in terms of the chronology in which applications are taken up. So that's something that's happening as well. So yeah, so these are the updates I have with regards to coastal zone and environment.
Do you have anything to say regarding there's a list of buildings which is found to be in Cochin listed out saying that they have violated CRZ. What is being
that is actually under the listing of the Supreme Court right now. So that is not something that is listed in Cochin per se. It is a state level report. So you probably may have come across the Cochin segment of that report. And we have recently filed an affidavit in the court saying that, this is so the court had actually initially directed us in the context of the Marad judgment that you should find out all the violations across the things. So the current list that is obviously it is not a final list because individual hearings, etc. Will likely be conducted. But again, the final say is with the Supreme Court. So we have only filed this thing to the Supreme Court that a preliminary listing has been done, and then a much more detailed analysis and a much more detailed study and hearings, etc. will have to be conducted in order to take this forward. Simply because so many of those buildings could already have clearance, but maybe on paper, as per the latest record in the office, it may not be cleared. So many of them would be what are called otherwise cleared, which is had they applied, they would have gotten the clearance. There may not be violations per se. So there's a lot of stuff to be looked into. So I would just say, wait for that to happen right now because things are still at a very preliminary stage.
Yeah, I think Mir has probably. I think Mir Mohammed has taken up his issues. I think most of it, what has been talked about, has been covered. Can you all hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Mir, thank you so much. I think you have covered most of the points, and I think we can probably move to the next person. Can we go to the Mr. Rajan Manikam? Mr. Rajan Manikam, I hope you are there.
Waiting.
Sorry, Raja, we have to go fast. So that's why I thought earlier. Now, Raja, there's nothing much we need to say. I think Mr. Chief Secretary has talked about the ease of doing business, and you heard it, and all that is there. And you also had a meeting with all of us, and you have been very positive in considering the request. And in this meeting, also, Chief Secretary said that in the K-Swift program, he intends to bring the real estate also inside. We hope that that will be implemented, because there is one thing which is left out, because the building permit system is very important. Not only building permit system is not only important.
Come hearing, please.
Yeah, can you hear? Yeah.
Yeah.
Building permit system is not only important to the real estate sector, but all the industries in Kerala. So it's very important. It's very important that a lot of disturbance is coming. Yeah, building permit system is very important to the industry in Kerala, not only to the real estate, but to all across the industry. So once you bring K-Swift real estate into the K-Swift part of it, I'm quite sure that a lot of the major problems will be over, and we'll be able to get the building permits in place. Another thing which we feel that that there's still a confusion regarding the software to be adopted. Recently, we found that government, its department itself, has acknowledged the software Suvega as one of the best softwares, and awards have been given to them. If that was so, why can't we consider taking Suvega into account and probably using that? Because that'll be one thing which government has acknowledged it. Government has awarded the award and also given the commendation certificate. So why don't you KSIDC look into that? Because the other software still got a lot of teething problems, and it has not been implemented. So most of the time it doesn't work. So bringing real estate into the K-Swift is one thing, but the software to be used to get the building permits is another thing. So these are two areas I think we are looking forward to hear from you.
Yeah, because only very limited point, as already we have discussed a lot. I mean, the ease of doing business. Point number one is like, say already after the last discussion, I have returned to the government, stating that as such, the original, constitution written here in K-Swift, that very well, construction industry can be part of it. So I have already quoted and returned to the government, even if it is not, maybe real estate and the construction industry can be brought into the purview of the case, which is done already. It is in the process with the government. Since Chief Secretary assured of this one, I'll take it up further, this issue. That is number one. Number two, as far as building plan management system is concerned, so before Suvega came into place, before that itself, we have given KSIDC and government has given to develop the software, which is in the advanced stage. But of late, in fact, the same question rise to me also, like in the sense, when Suvega is good, why should we go for another one? Why can't we improve that and we adopt to it? But throughout this industry. But technically, they were saying something like there is a problem in doing something like that. I'm not exactly aware of what technical problem it is that. What I have done is that I have asked NIC and other peoples to have a discussion regarding this one, so that there is no problem in having whichever is working best, that can be adaptable. But they were saying for what is that scaling up of the things, they have some problem that I need to get the clarification. Once it is done, they definitely either Suvega or whatever which is suitable for the industry will be happening. And rest of the things we have discussed a lot. Maybe if anything else is there, I will answer.
I think you have covered most of it, because the Chief Secretary has taken on the major part of it. So I think more than that, we are trying to say that your ease of doing business is very important. And Mr. Kurian himself has been saying that that the ease of as part of ease of doing business, you need to bring all the services into that, which means electricity board, the pollution control board, the water authority, and the fire department, and all these things. Because what I find is that even the fire department, there's a problem that even they have decentralized the chief town planner's office, that is all the district level, but two things are still being centered in Trivandrum. That is the fire department. All applications for fire applications still need to come to the director of fire force in Trivandrum, and also for the chairman pollution control board. I think you need to decentralize this, because this is creating a lot of problem. Why, if you can put it to district officers to handle that, a lot of things can be brought down. Why should you really harass the Directorate of Fire Force and the Pollution Control Board with all the applications coming here instead of decentralizing it so that it can be taken up at the regional level or the district level, so the problems can be sorted out. So this is something which we want you to really take up, because as part of ease of doing business, this is very important to decentralize all these things. And this is why we are talking to you about it. Even today, we found that a circular has been brought out by PCB, which is actually when you are trying to make ease of doing business, we find that the circular brought out in a day or last 2 days back is totally contravening the ease of doing business. You see, we are trying to find ways how to make things simpler. Now they're coming out with a circular saying that you must have the pollution control board, you must have the STP above the ground, and we are saying that all this should go below the ground, and you must have meters to test whether they are all confining to the required levels. But today they brought out a circular without even carrying out a stakeholder discussion. So I think stakeholder discussion is very important, and as part of ease of doing business, I think you should insist that all departments must carry out a stakeholder consultation before coming out with any guidelines, and that also should be complying to the ease of doing business.
I only one request to you, from FICCI, you just, can you make it 3 points? Point number one is you are talking about this guidelines, and about the fire force and pollution control board, it should be decentralized. If these 3 things, come as a representation to me, what I will do is that next chief secretary level meeting, I will just place it, and then maybe we'll discuss and then give you a reply.
Very good, Raja, because you are as dynamic as what you say. So you walk the talk. So we definitely look forward for your support, and thank you for that.
Thank you.
Now,
thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And is Mr. Venkatasapati on the line?
Yeah, Raghunathan sir, he is still in the airport. He has agreed to connect. So we are just still trying. Venkatasapati sir as well as Dr. Venuraj also, both of them are traveling. So as soon as we get them connected, we will let you know. So
if they are not there, I think I would like to go to Mr. ML Das, because
exactly.
There's one particular issue regarding what Mr. Kulian said about the account. I hope you will definitely take that into account before and come out with the revised guidelines, so that these confusions in that particular area can be removed.
Yeah, so good afternoon, all the distinguished panelists, and thank you, Mr. Raghu and Mr. Krishna Kumar, for giving me this opportunity to be with all of you. Mr. Kurian may not be seeing me, but at least I have been hearing him in one of the programs at Kozhikode. He had come, although I was not there, but I have always been briefed about him. So I know him very well, although we have not met personally. Now, coming back to this 3 account, which Mr. Kurian has said, in fact, the RERA guideline says that of the total revenue which is getting collected, 70% of that should be spent on the project-related activities. And 30% the builders can use as per their convenience. They can spend as per their convenience. Now, this is the RERA guidelines. And in order to fulfill these RERA guidelines, what a State Bank has done is, the State Bank is digitally very advanced. Okay, so every entry which comes to the escrow account, if you start seeing that whether he has spent 30% or 70%, it becomes a cumbersome for the builders also. So let me clarify to all of you. I'm sorry because it has not been clarified by my people down the line. Let me clarify that only one account is opened, current account is opened at the bank level. That escrow account, your application you are giving only for one account. That is for the escrow account. What we do is digitally we create 3 accounts out of that. So there will be one account, main account, which is the escrow account where the money comes. And digitally we give you 2 account numbers. One account number is for the 70% of the expenses, which has to be as per the RERA guidelines. and there's another account where the 30% goes, and that you are free to spend as per your will. There will be no restriction on that. So actually, you are opening only one account. For your convenience, digitally, we are creating 2 more accounts to distinguish between the 70% and 30%.
Yeah,
So
Mr. Das.
actually, it is for
Yeah, Mr. Das.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Raghu.
The money is coming to the main account. From the
Yeah.
principal go automatically, you can have another account for the 70% payment. I don't think you need to have, you open up multiple accounts, because I already, if you have an account in the bank and in the main account, the check comes in, from that 70% goes to the next account. That is all what you require.
No, what happens is, see, the clarity is there. If the escrow account, only the money comes there.
There is
And
no escrow
automatically
account.
they
There is no.
distribute, automatically they
Sir, I need
distribute.
to,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, sir. I'd like
Please,
to
please.
correct here. There is no something called escrow account. There is no escrow account mechanism in the act at all. There is only a separate account. The word used is separate account, not escrow account.
Agreed. So what is happening there is, entire money is coming to that escrow account, whatever account you call, there it comes. 70% you are supposed to spend on the project related activities. Okay, and 30% you are supposed to expend as per your will. So what this system is doing is 70% they are giving you one account, 30% they are giving you another account, and then you don't have to see that whether I have completed 70% or whether I have not completed 70%. That distinction you don't have to do. It's for your each.
But I don't
It
think
is
so.
for your each.
Yeah, I think you need.
Raghu, can I make a small point here?
Yeah, please.
See, when you open an escrow account, bank has control. Our point is, why should the bank have control? We will control ourselves. We have to finally answer RERA, not the bank. So let us forget about the escrow. Escrow account. Yeah, let us forget about an escrow account.
Krishna Kumar, shall I explain here what is happening in Karnataka?
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Nagaraj.
Karnataka, what is happening, even SBI or HDFC, their account name is called RERA account. It is called RERA account. One account only we have to open. The same account number we have to give to RERA authorities. Whatever amount coming from that particular project, it will come to that RERA account. 30% of that amount automatically will be transferred to our current account. 70% will remain in that RERA account only. After certificate from the chartered accountant, even that 70% also can be transferred to our current account. There is only one account. It is clear. The account name itself is called RERA account. This account name itself is called RERA account.
But I think arrangement is the same.
Yeah.
There is no difference, because the 70% that digitally opened, you are able to spend there.
It will remain in that account.
Yeah.
70% will remain in the RERA account, because which number we have gone to RERA authorities, it has to remain in that account. 30% will go to our current account, regular current account.
Sir, I need to step in. I need to step in here. I need to step in here to correct slightly to tell what Mr. Nagarajan is saying. He said that the account which is coming into the project will be known as a RERA account, and from that account, only 70%, the money which is going off to the other account will be, the 30% will be taken away and put in. But I need to correct you, and also Mr. Nagarajan, you need to correct me when you hear. I hope others will put your mics off so that you can hear. Mr. Nagarajan, I hope you'll correct me, and Mr. Das, please listen. The money which is coming in is inclusive of GST and other taxes. It can be cess, everything. So you can't simply take 70% and put it there. That it should be the 70% is after all this thing. You can take out 70% and put it. That is a construction account. It does not consist GST or any taxes. The taxes and everything will be lying in the 30% account only. Is it clear? Nagarajan, can you hear me? Hello? Mr. Das, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mr. Das?
Hello?
Can you hear me, Mr. Das?
Mr. Das is on mute. He's on mute.
Mr. Das, you are on mute. Please unmute.
Yes, I can hear you.
What I was
Okay.
trying to tell you is that, Mr. Nagaraj, can you correct me here? Now, what I'm saying is, when you say RIRA account, the money comes into a RIRA account. From that account, 30% goes to the other account. But you have to remember
it's
the
not
money
other
which is
account.
coming in. The money which is coming in will have GST, will have other taxes, everything inside that. What do you do with that? Mr. Nagaraj,
30% they can spend on whatever they.
Mr. Nagaraj, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, please give a reply to that.
See, now once your RERA account is opened, 100% you have to deposit. First, immediately 30% will come to our current account. The remaining 70% will be there. That is inclusive of your GST.
But GST
Inclusive
cannot
of your
be,
GST.
GST should be in that account, means then how do you take out your GST amount?
No. Then you can take a certificate from a chartered account that 70% even GST also included. So you can take away that GST amount after getting the certificate from your chartered account.
Okay.
This is a way. Tomorrow, each and every bank, the RERA authority is going and auditing. So there should be a RERA account. In that should be 100% collection. As 30% will directly be transferred to your current account, whatever account you have given. The 70% will be remain there. As per the progress certified by your chartered account, you can withdraw that money.
What about GST?
The GST also. That's what I'm telling. Because GST, whatever you collect this month, you have to pay to the department next month.
So that should go along with the 30%, right?
No, not necessarily. See, 30% of the 100% of the GST already you have taken away.
Raghu, can we take it up separately? Probably, these stuff
Because since
more of time.
the other speakers have not come, that's why I thought I'll take up this time for that.
No, it is very, very clear. I'm telling you, first in the 30%, even inclusive of your GST, you are taking away. The remaining 70% will remain in the RERA account. Once chartered account is certified, so okay, the GST amount can be transferred, you can transfer. And
Okay,
for that, you need not have a permission from the RERA authorities, only your chartered accountant has to give the certificate.
Okay.
Mr. Nagaraj, just come in. The point is, you can take money only after the milestone is over. You cannot take money in advance.
No,
For
that
example,
depends upon your chartered accountant.
no,
Your chartered
that
account
only after the.
certifies.
No, assume that I am taking. I'm taking 10% for completing the 10th floor slab. I can take money only after 10th floor slab is completed.
No.
Whereas
Now your chartered account certifies that 70% of the GST collected from the customer is laying in the RERA account. Then the bank can transfer that amount to your current account.
It is an escrow account. Anyway, whatever they might.
It's not an escrow account.
There's no
this
escrow
is, I mean,
account. There's
It's
no
not
escrow
escrow
account.
Wait. An account that is managed both by the customer and by the bank by a bilateral agreement is called an escrow account. Am I right, Mr. Das?
No.
It is a real estate account. It is called real estate account, RERA account. The product name is only RERA account.
May I come in?
Yeah.
Yeah, escrow account we are opening for a particular project. So whatever revenue is coming, first it is coming there, and then only the distribution takes place, where it will go. So entire revenue should come there. For that, this escrow account we are opening. Anyway, Raghu, I think it's a vexed issue. We'll sit down separately and we'll resolve this issue. Right?
Yeah.
We'll sit down separately and then resolve.
Since the others are not there, can we go to
Yeah,
the next section and start off the session?
Definitely, because we are still trying to get connected with Dr. Renu as well as Bhagavati also. As soon as get it connected, we can.
I don't think you need to waste time to connect them anymore.
Yeah, yes.
Next
We can
session,
move to the.
I hand over this thing to Najib. Najib, please take over from here and go forward.
Yes.
Thank you. I think Dr. Najib, before proceeding with the session, a brief introduction of Dr. Najib, as everybody aware of Dr. Najib, is a doctor by qualification, by profession, and practice. Yeah.
Savio, you can cut that. It's okay.
Okay.
It's all known people, so let's not get.
Okay. Okay.
History is not
Okay.
important. What is
Okay.
future is important now for us.
Okay,
So
understood,
yeah,
understood. So I'm just cutting short.
yeah.
Sir, we can just play that Kadai with that SBI video for just 1-2 minutes, and then start off with the SBI.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Dr.
Okay.
Najib, sir, you can take
Yes.
over.
Okay. Thank you. So good evening to all. What I would say is, first of all, we've had a pretty invigorating session till now with all the government officials contributing, very frankly, and it gives us confidence. That's the thing. Every time we talk with senior government officials, they like to hear our point of view, and they're pretty firm on their point of view as well. So sometimes it's a tussle. And it's reflected in that, we have, as Kadai Kerala, trying to create a level playing field, has actually issued, 46 representations over the last 12 months to various government departments. So it just shows how much, Kadai Kerala is trying to, reinvent the wheel. Each time, the turf is spoiled, we have to reinvent, make the playing field level. And that's pretty unique, I think, in Kerala. And that's where these the nuances, and we still go about talking of the ease of doing business and what Raghu mentioned about circulars coming without stakeholder participation. So that's in a nutshell, where the sticky points are, which tend to, in spite of the best of efforts of our officials, who are very learned and have very very divergent but very relevant viewpoints, we still somehow fail to get all the ticks in the right boxes to improve our ranking. And that probably what I want to take in this probably 45 to 1 hour session is, we have a few relevant panelists. Our Vice President Kadai National, Nagaraj Reddy, you heard him just a while ago. He's there with us. Our Amit Raja, he's CBR, he's the Senior Director of CBRE for Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Two other panelists, Amber Mitra is, unfortunately expressed regret he couldn't join. Mr. Irfan Razak, Kadai National Park Chairman, MDF Prestige, may just try and make it. He's got caught up with some other, unavoidable, meetings. So he said he'll try his best, but he couldn't commit. The session here, what we want to delve upon is future. We have seen over the last 8-9 months how much COVID has impacted, how things have slowed down. We've been on numerous webinars. We have had an overdose of that. But each time we have discussed very, very different topics, because it's been a very continuously disruptive process, and a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas have come in. Many thoughts took shape, but some of them actually was rolled out for action. And we have been reinventing ourselves during the lockdown and during this gradual unlocking and as the scenarios have evolved, we have realized that COVID has been a great leveler. So now not only real estate has felt the pain, every sector has felt the pain. Real estate has been feeling the pain every time for the last 3-5 years, because every time real estate, only specific to real estate developers would be, each time a project is, you start all over again. You start from the building permit to to completion. Nothing is guaranteed. So that was a peculiar scenario of real estate. But we got more and more better with it. Now, as everybody knows, there are pain points all across. But we have to look forward and positively. So in our panel, of course, Mr. Das is also a part of our panel, who will bring in a lot of insight into how what changes government policies, especially from the RBI and central government. Even today, we have had a third stimulus from the finance minister, how the government policies are changing the investment demand. What macro level, a lot of changes are happening. We are hearing it, we are all reading it. But how in Kerala, how we can transfer that into more sustainable, predictable, safer investments, and the kind of asset classes, how it has changed from the bread and butter residential to any other fine asset classes. At what risk can we do that? How the developers, or even for that matter, with the high number of NRIs coming back, because Gulf is a very sticky wicket at this point of time. With NRIs, with the kind of money who want to become entrepreneurs in Kerala, which would be the real estate segments where they can also play a role in the development of our state. Those are also something which we need to delve upon. So the investment emerging themes based on the changing current as well as the changing economic scenario amidst the COVID disruptions is what we want to touch upon. Yeah, and each of our panelists will bring in their expertise and insight and share with us what they feel Kerala can do better. So first, I would like to call upon Nagaraj. Can you first, I would like you all panelists to share, if I say about in 5 to 7 minutes, give your perspective on these, touching upon these aspects. Mr. Nagaraj is also the MD of Sunasha Projects, and I would like you to touch upon government policies. We have heard, I think, a lot from our government officials, how other states during COVID particularly how they have changed or transformed. We have heard about how Maharashtra and Telangana has also been doing some good work. What can Kerala learn from that? How we can do better to improve our turf? Over to you.
I am really thankful to Mr. Fagi, organization, and all the delegates who have come. It is a great honor, and I really appreciate the initiative taken by the Kerala government. I heard our Chief Secretary of Kerala was very, very positive about implementing the ease of doing business in Kerala. I will tell the example of Karnataka. The ease of doing business has been chosen by the central government this year, Bangalore as well as Calcutta, because the World Bank has targeted. They asked the state governments to include Bangalore city is under the ease of doing business target. So now last 6 months, our Chief Secretary Vijay Bhaskar, who is also a very simple and honest man, is trying his level best to bring it that system in Bangalore. The system is very, very simple and very active. Once you apply a plan sanction in that online, it will go to 21 departments who are all connected with our department. And all these departments, within 7 days, they have to fix a date for the inspection and other things. They will inform the applicant when they will visit the site. The particular site, they have all the applicant as well as these authorities, they will visit the site. And 14th day, the applicant has to get the endorsement. Whether the plan, what you submitted, what is there, everything is in order. And also, the applicant has to go to environmental department, pollution department, fire department, electricity department, water department, and what else in Bangalore we got other 3-4 clearances like fire clearances, even including conversion. All the department within 7 days they have to reply to the applicant. So this is the reason we can't give you power or we can't give clearances. If that 14th day the applicant doesn't get any comment from that all these 7 departments, that means your application is accepted for approval. So from there, every 2 days the file will go to each department, and 21st day you will get the alert from the you have to pay for the approval. And 20 days, in 8 days you have to pay money. On 28th day, you will get your plan approved. So this is what they developed in Karnataka. There are so many issues within the, even God has given permission also, the pujaris will abstract, like that some of the issues are happening in local level. So that will get resolved easily because the central government is putting a lot of pressure on the state government. Until otherwise, if you don't implement this ease of doing business online plan approval, they are not going to release some funds. So to get that first, definitely state government have to do it, and that is going on in Karnataka. Meanwhile, by seeing this, Telangana government, they have started doing the same format, and they have implemented earlier to Karnataka. Now in Telangana, if you apply a plan sanction, within 21 days, you have to get your plan sanction. Otherwise, 22nd day, you can start your work without waiting for the plan approvals. It is a deemed approval as per Telangana is concerned, and any delay from any officials, he is getting fined and he getting penalized also. So this is a system what in Telangana they have implemented. Last 4 years, the number of projects which has got approved and started in Telangana, they have overtaken our Bangalore also, especially in IT industry. And the GDP growth is excellent. This is more than their GDP growth last year was 4.95, comparing to GDP growth of all India level 4.6. And this coming year, their GDP growth they are targeting at 8.5. Amazing result. And whichever state, in my experience, whichever state they give importance to real estate, definitely that state grows better than any other state. So there's the best example is Telangana. Within 5 years, they have turned the state as a #1 in South India as of now. It's a good example also. And secondly, if I come to know what I was hearing from the principal secretary, the systems what there is amazing. Absolutely no problem. As long if it is get implemented, then Kerala will stand #1 in South India. No doubt about that. But the only thing is we have to wait and see how far it is going to be implemented next year. And Mr. Cherian was talking about RERA also. See, today, the state governments, they have to encourage. See, we are not cheaters. Our CREDAI members, one of the best members what we are having in India in developing the assets. Today, there are only two things the public can give investment. One is either gold or house. In the gold, if they invest, they have to safeguard the gold. Whereas if they invest their house, the house will safeguard the family. So that way, at any time, our housing will be a better solution for investment. And your Kerala is a unique state where each and every town is becoming city, in every village is becoming town. So that way, the progress and future growth of Kerala is definitely is very good, provided the state government if they help you and all other agencies if they come forward to do an ease of doing business process. And definitely you will definitely overcome these issues. Today, most of the NRIs who want to come back to India, either they are investing in Bangalore or investing in Hyderabad, they are investing in Bombay. For Kerala, I don't know why they are not investing. That means they are thinking that the Kerala there is no future or something, I don't know. For last 4 months, I'm telling, in Bangalore, the sales has done excellent sales. And all the listed companies' result, if you can see, comparing to last quarter, this quarter results all become double, 100% more. And it is coming to pre-COVID levels. Even I had one project, is a very luxury project, around 4 crores budget projects. I was struggling to sell about 20-25 units. Within 4 months, entire units is sold out. Now it is resale is started. So that kind of demand is there. And people want to have a house now and ready to move in, especially in Bangalore is doing very well. Now, work at home is a very excellent concept what some of the IT companies are encouraging, and most of the people have gone back to their native place, especially people who are working in Kerala, they have gone back to Kerala. From there, they are working. So that way, there is a scope to work very well. And now, you know, in Kerala, you got a very good opportunity for digital marketing. It is coming very big way. And online purchase is happening in each and every item nowadays. So the logistics zone definitely will do very well. For last 6 months in Bangalore, the logistics developed 10 times. The demand for logistics stores is becoming too much, and people now, lot of even builders also started developing logistics now. Like IT, actually IT we are suffering now. Whereas all the people are turned their investment towards logistics. In outskirts, they are developing millions of square feet of logistics places. The Amazon and Flipkart, those kind of people they are taking in a big way, and they want a distribution network they want to create across India. So that way there is a very good scope in Kerala is there. So that our members please have to do it. Next is medical hospitality. Medical now in Kerala, you know, about the COVID, the Ayurvedic has got so much prominent. Those days, all the things you say, drink boost, drink Horlicks, that all gone. Now they come back to old or traditional thing. You drink thing also, immunity will go. Go back to your turmeric powder, so your immune system will improve. You take garlic, you take pepper. So this is advertisement is started, and people also started using that. So that way you got natural resources in Kerala. So the medical thing you can try, our people can bring back like Ayurvedic in a big way, and even some NRIs they can come and take treatment. Even within India, people can come to Kerala and take treatment. So the future is there for Kerala.
Yes.
Now
Okay.
I
Okay.
also understood most of the Keralites, they are experts in AC technology, what we call HVAC, what we are using in Bangalore. All the technology I noticed, they are all from Kerala. That means if you develop or anybody come forward to develop, the government has to improve, to encourage some AC manufacturers and unit, because our national government today is very much, they announced so many schemes for the local manufacturers. All these days, even we are getting ACs and other things only from China. Now, few companies, they are bringing the materials from Taiwan and other thing, and they are assembling here, and they are marketing. The demand is too high. So the Kerala is a very good potential area. So the state, you can mention for state government, electrical and electronic based items they can concentrate. And another is data center. So the coastal area, since we got the coastal connectivity very good, so you can ask the government to encourage for data center. The data center needs only power. Major issue for them is power. So if the government uninterrupted power, if the government comes forward and give, data center is a very, because there is less employment, whereas the productivity of the data center is fantastic. Now today, Bombay and Chennai, they are doing extremely well in developing data centers. Even Bangalore also, we could not able to, they are telling they want connectivity through sea. So that's why they are choosing either Tamil Nadu, Chennai or Bombay. So Kerala, you got a very good potential, and the connectivity to Kerala to Arabic countries are very good. So that the data center you can start in Kerala. So that will definitely will give a very good job opportunities for Kerala people, and because technically your Kerala people are very good in data center. That's what I know, because two data centers have been in my complex, all from Kerala. So they are looking after the data centers. So there is a potential is there, and in my opinion, if the continues that this corona if it continues, definitely there will be a big challenge for us. For example, all small and medium level builders, they are facing lot of problems across Karnataka. Even especially in Bangalore, consolidation is started. And our Keradai people itself, we called some of the builders, big builders, to take over the small builders project, so that they can come out from the crisis. So that way, and even rare authorities also, they have taken Keradai Bangalore as one of the arbitrator. Any issues between the builders and the customers, Keradai also becoming a part of the arbitrator, and whatever the issues amicably we are settling. Lot of issues we have resolved nowadays. Only few builders they are becoming bankrupt. So those projects we are asking big builders like Irfan and other people to take over. Even between the builders to builders also, recently they have taken a lot of projects. For example, Mantri's project is taken over by Irfan as well as Mr. Raj Menda of RMC Group. So those and Sterling project is taken over by Shobha. So this kind of within our fraternity, we have arranged that also. Any people who are having some financial issues or some other issues, the big builders coming and taking over those kind of projects and resolving the issue. So in Bangalore, especially in Bangalore, last 4 months, the RERA has given a lot of benefit, the relief. Actually, I can't say benefit. It's a relief to our builders, especially in resolving these issues and extension of time. Everything they have given orally. And they told us that even the registration of the sale agreement, they have not made it compulsory till today. They not told us, yes, they can also, we can understand the issues. We are not insisting. As long as the customers are not giving any complaint, then you go ahead without registering it. Also, they have told us. So that way they have done all these things. And I really request our Keradai Kerala, and they have taken a very good step, the same step that it process Raghu was mentioning, so many measures what he was interacting with the Chief Secretary, Krishna Kumar was mentioning, and Viggy also was mentioning. Please, the state, our Chief Secretary was very positive. I'm really very happy to hear the news from a very simple man. So if he is taken this job very continuously, definitely the ease of doing business, they can start from January. So next year definitely is going to be a good year for Kerala.
Yes.
And as of now, I wish the corona issues is going to come down. It is going, there are a lot of possibilities there. Now the vaccine also they have found out, that's what their news are coming. And in Bangalore, especially Bangalore, now the rate is coming down. That infected people's rate is dramatically has come down now. And even the survival rate also has gone up in Bangalore to 97%, only 3% because of the age issues or other issues that collapsing. The good positive things have come, and today our finance minister also announced for housing sector up to 2 crores some income tax benefits. I have to go through it. I don't know, you may be also gone through it. So some benefit they announced today. Because of that, some kind of momentum may take place. I think the only unfortunate for Kerala is only Kerala people are coming and purchasing, other people are not coming and purchasing, investing in Kerala. And you got that one disadvantages. Now at least the government should make sure that even others to come and stay there, others to come and invest there. If they made a friendly relationship or friendly ambience in Kerala, definitely Kerala is the best state in South for all these scenarios.
Yeah,
And
wonderful.
I think I've taken enough time.
No, it's okay. Nagaraj, you have spot on. A lot of points you brought out, without even asking. So I want to just touch upon few more, go into depth of it a bit, because you see, you have mentioned about very good sales happening, but you also mentioned that bankruptcy, some developers have challenges. So this is the real estate recovery for real, or is it just a rebound effect, or because of the pent up demand? Because it's too early to say, or because 6 months is the timeline now since COVID, 6-8 months. A lot of people, a lot of churn has happened. A lot of incentives government has given. The recent incentive is again a sentiment booster. It may not help all places, like in places in Kerala, because it's about circle rate and market rate, etc., where the tax benefit is given. This consolidation definitely is good, what you said, and actually it's happened. That gives a confidence that even developers in Kerala can do that to come out of projects. And that the benefit which RERA has given in Karnataka, I think these are relevant points which we can impress upon our RERA chairman as well. So what do you think the real estate recovery is real, or is it we need time? We need more time.
No, it is actually real. What is happening today? The people who are staying in a rented house, or they staying away, they want to create assets. Especially husband wife who are working there, for their children, their first thing now they come to mind is to create an asset to their children. So that way they demand, especially ready to move in houses, 3-bedroom. So all entire 3-bedroom in my apartment project is sold out, whereas 2-bedroom is a little slow movement. 3 is 100%.
The work from home, the work from home and study from home is really making a different look out for a little more convenient houses. And people are willing to stretch their budget.
They want to stay. The parents also want to stay with them. One separate isolated room, definitely they can allocate to the parents. That's why the 3-bedroom now.
Yeah.
You are asked the incentives. Of course, see now Maharashtra has given stamp duty, they reduced to 2%. And Telangana also reduced the stamp duty to 2%. Even Telangana is reduced, they waived off the processing fee for affordable housing. You need not pay any fees. Straight away you can just submit. So all these benefits they are given. But it will not sustain in long run. It will not sustain in long run because in Telangana, their expenditure is very less. In Karnataka, we tried our level best. Even the government is announced for 35 lakhs. Up to 35 lakhs, the stamp duty is 2%. Till today, it is not gazetted. Almost 9 months over our budget. Still, they are not gazetted. If you go and ask them, they are telling we are in deficient budget. We are having a lot of financial crunches. Now, please don't ask or expect anything. In Kerala, I don't know what is the financial crisis or what is the dependent. Even if they give for NRIs, suppose anybody want to register the apartments or anything before March 31st, of this year. The stamp duty, they are giving 50% deduction or something. Definitely, that will give a very good moral boost to the builders as well as to the
Yes.
home buyers. It will
Yeah,
give a lot.
we have taken that up, but some things incentives come slow in Kerala, so it takes some time. So you 2 points which you mentioned is about office space. 30% or more of office IT staff are actually Keralites. So is there a possibility with working from home which has come to stay? Can we look at reverse migration into Kerala, because there's no rural urban divide, so people can stay at in their own cities. Those from Bangalore can come to Cochin, Trivandrum, Calicut. Those from our cities in Kerala can go to their towns. So is that actually happening? Are you seeing any traction there?
Yeah, see, I'll tell you, in my data center, there is about 180 people who are working for each company. There are about 300, are almost 400 people. Out of 400, 200 people from Kerala. So I visited day for yesterday. All these 200 people are working from Kerala. They are staying with their parents, their children also with them. Online classes going on for the children. These people are staying there and working. I don't know why? Most of the cost of living in Kerala is cheaper compared to in Bangalore. And Bangalore, we were in the rented house. Now we are not. Some of the people are vacated. In my project, about 6-7 people have vacated the house and they gone to Kerala. Because they told them very clearly, till March, you need not come to Bangalore. Some companies have already declared you need not come till March.
Okay.
So that way, definitely is helping them to stay at their home. They understood that, okay, another 6 months or 9 months, we need not come to Bangalore.
Right. So at least consumption, to that extent, consumption will increase in Kerala. That many people coming back to Kerala.
Will increase. Definitely, it will increase.
But when you talked about, now I would like to go to, our other, speaker, Amit Raja, who is from CBRE Senior Director. What I want to understand from you, Amit, is what do you see with your, knowledge from across India? How would Kerala, and you have a certain presence in Kerala, good, decent strength of, manpower. What would you see as the areas of focus for real estate developers in the next 6 to 12 months, where obviously nobody would want to experiment too much, some proven areas where and how to go about it, modus operandi, if there is merit in that.
Sure thing. I'll just take a couple of steps behind just to lay the context well for the audience. Many thanks, first of all, Vicky and Greta, for the opportunity. It's a pleasure. Over the last 4-5 years, we have seen the commercial business in the country, consistently performing very well, and Kerala was also playing a very major role there, right? 2019, we ended the year across the country at about 63 million square feet of space that was absorbed. This is one of the largest in the whole world, for a country to contribute that much amount of real estate absorption. First quarter this year also started off with similar trend, but unfortunately COVID happened, and the second quarter was almost at a standstill. But what is interesting, Najib, is the fact that despite a COVID year, right, despite all the uncertainties, the last quarter has been exceptionally good. When I say exceptionally good, in comparison to Q2, of course, but as a country, we are thereabouts of almost 50% of what we have seen as an absorption in 2019 already.
What area is this absorption for?
This will be about 23 million square feet as we stand right now. And
you're talking about office space, is it?
Yeah, office space. Okay. So almost all the asset classes would be the same. Retail is a very, very clear exception because retail is pretty much a washout. We have not seen much trade. In fact, we have seen significant amount of vacancy that's developing in the retail segment. Warehousing, as Nagaraj had mentioned, is certainly a green shoot, and primarily because of this huge uptake of online sales, and most of these online service providers and white good manufacturers actually stocking and providing for this from distribution centers. So parent hubs of warehouses and distribution centers, both of them are doing extremely well. So anybody who would like to actually diversify their portfolio, this is a quick opportunity to diversify. Obviously, land costs and opportunities are something that we need to look at. But then this can be and will continue to be on a rise for the next few years, is what we see.
You're saying that's a safe bet. You're saying
It's a
that's
very safe bet. Yeah, it's a very safe bet. It's quicker to hit the market, shorter life cycle of construction. Your costs are fairly lenient. The ask from the occupiers are also not very extravagant, right? So long as you have a good access road and you provide for the basic infrastructure, you would get tenancy. And even in Kerala right now, my teams are servicing in excess of 1.5 million square feet of demand across all the major cities, right? And the beauty is that it will not be concentrated only in, let's say, primary cities of Trivandrum, Kochi, or Calicut. It can
spread
out. The second segment that to your question is data centers. Now, data centers is a high gestation period product, right? The costs of construction are enormously high. You can't fully utilize the FAR, but then Kochi has got the huge benefit of having the undersea cable landing at Kochi, right? Very few cities in the country has got it. The two cities that have immensely benefited from it, as Nagaraj said, was and continues to be is Mumbai and Chennai. Kochi can become a very serious player, but I should warn that it is a high gestation period, right? And this is something where we feel the government can also partake, and it can be a public-private partnership kind of program where land close to the cable landing sites can be identified and zoned out so that private developers can come in and start setting up shop. Or it can even be given on long lease to large data center operators to actually come in and set up shop. This model has done exceptionally well in the Navi Mumbai market, and it's slowly catching up in Chennai as well. And that's a huge opportunity that needs to be certainly looked at. Clear indication on residential, on student housing, on senior living. These are segments that will do well. And Najib, you actually pointed out very well that work from home, especially in the last 7 months, has actually gotten a lot of people to think, are they maybe cutting corners by staying in a 2-bedroom apartment or a 3-bedroom apartment? That additional bedroom can certainly provide for that work from home or study from home concept. And I'm not surprised about what Nagaraj mentioned about all this 3-bedroom inventory going off. Because that's primarily driven by the fact that, even if it's a stretch of another 25-30 lakhs, families are preferring to go for that investment, because if this continues in the long term and the need to partially work from home, probably 2 or 3 days a fortnight or a month, that provision is there, right? Student housing again is a segment that will do extremely well, because we have seen very poor infrastructure around colleges or educational hubs in the country. Our students, the kids are either inside hostels which are poorly managed or poorly maintained, or staying with friends in again not so very great environment. So that's a segment that will continue to do well. Professionally managed student housing aggregators and solution providers will do very well. So that's good news again for the residential developers who are having inventory around educational hotspots. Senior living, again, I know that Kerala is one of the pioneers in actually coming with solutions around the senior living concept. This is something that will increase. I know of a lot of demand that has come up, or at least inquiries that have come up during this COVID period, where people who are non-resident Keralites finding out if there are reliable solutions where their senior members of the family can actually move to and be taken care of. These are the specific segments, Najib, that we have to look out for, and potentially opportunities where the developer community in Kerala can look at diversifying partially into.
Okay. So just to touch upon 2-3 points which you mentioned. senior living, obviously, it is a lot of service driven, and the whole gamut of infrastructure and service providers have to be tied up. So a lot of collaboration maybe come and play. Like hospitals can tie up, hospital tie-ups, ambulance services, and there are some of CREDAI members who have ventured into this even a decade ago, and some are already in the process of doing at different levels of probably affordability. But it's a long-term play again, isn't it? So, and that model may need it may not be like a residential, how you sell out a stock. You may need to what happens senior living is what happens after they move away, pass away, and stuff like that. So there could be a lot of new learnings which may need to come in, and who are willing to take this path. But that's an unexplored, I mean, in the true sense, it's not fully, you've not seen the full life cycle of senior living project. Really, maybe Coimbatore has a few, I believe, but Kerala is not. We're not seeing too much of it. Coming to the student housing again, what's the right, again, pricing matters, isn't it? And at what price point is affordability again is an issue, and how much one should do to make the right click for the student housing is important.
If you were to do a reverse math, but in a twin sharing kind of room, the sweet spot is between a 3,700 upwards to 5,000 rupees per student per month. That's the sweet spot that has been fairly identified. And of course, it does change from geography to geography, but at least from the metro and grade A towns, that's the kind of sweet spot that has been found. So if you were to do a reverse math, then that would give you an indication. Obviously, there again, the play is not just about doing it yourself. It is about collaborating, getting those right partners in place, and then maybe part exiting or fully exiting as a portfolio. So that way, it gives a far better play for developers and builders who are potentially sitting on land banks or pre-agreed arrangements with landowners. There are operators who are willing to tie up right now. As the project gets delivered, they'll start marketing. By the time the project gets delivered, occupancy starts, and then there are those exit mechanisms, routes that can be evaluated by the original owners.
So in this also, a certain optimized size is required, isn't it? For it to break even and for feasibility to happen. So they would be set already. So these are all proven, projects which have a certain optimized size so that it breaks even faster and stuff like that.
Yes. So the right way to do it is actually not custom, not do retrofit of existing projects, but to custom build projects, because the college is not going to go anywhere, right? Or a cluster of colleges is not going to go anywhere. So when right from the word go, you do the planning in such a way that you have the right size rooms, the plumbing, the amenities, your meal area, your kitchen areas, the approvals can be taken in that manner, so that it becomes a very clear ecosystem that is created.
Last question: co-working, co-living. What is the scenario of that? Is there any future for that now?
Yes. So again, with specificity to Kerala, I'll tell you, co-working will be actually one of the segments that will actually pick up first. Across the country, if you see, there are quite some spaces that companies have given up, especially by companies for whom the real estate costs are very high, Najib, right? But we will see them actually coming back first. They will be the first to get back to work. We strongly believe that the need for an office space is very important for an organization to do well, right? And that is fundamental. And we have seen that need get profound over the last 100 years. So to undo something because of a 7-month phenomenon, we don't think that is going to ever happen. At the same time, this mid-sized companies or the startup segment will come back, and they would prefer to go the co-working model, simply because the capex is low or nil. There is flexibility in the option for them to take on a per seat per month model or a per seat per year model. This is doing extremely well in all the metros, mind you. It's just a phenomenon that's around 3 or 4 years old, but already we have seen up to 7 or 8% of the stock in all the key cities actually transforming into co-working centers. Because the demand is really high, right? And it caters to a wide assortment of tenants. And even for the operator and the owner of the real estate, it is good because the portfolio gets split across multiple companies occupying a particular center.
It's a
It
de-risking method.
de-risks.
It's a de-risking.
Yeah.
But what happened in the last 6-7 months? How have they been functioning?
It has been bloodbath, honestly, Najib. It has been bad. It has been bad, and there is no way anybody can say that they're doing very well. Most of them have been going through pain, but that's where the distribution matters, right? If you are distributed with a few enterprise clients, larger clients who believe that they will retain their licenses during that particular period, and then a few or a chunk of the mid-sized companies and a few startup companies. It's how you program your center that will show how the business can survive. I should also tell you one thing. In Kerala, again, it's very atypical, right? In the CBD and off CBD markets of, let's say, a Cochin or a Trivandrum, you do still find a lot of mid-sized buildings. But then that is unfortunately not what the larger companies are looking for.
This is the question I wanted to ask.
Yes.
There's a lot of vacancy.
Yes.
If you see along the stretch of Cochin bypass, there are a lot of buildings which are like continuing to be vacant years on. And I'm sure in many other parts of Canada. So a lot of vacant commercial buildings or office space buildings are there. But here we're seeing that people want grade A offices and somewhere the mismatch is there. So it's not necessarily developer driven such buildings. Not necessarily. It can be a one-off building also with so many one-off people putting up having a land parcel and putting up such buildings. So it creates the demand is not enough. The supply there's oversupply and there's a price mismatch at the end of the day.
Najib, I'll tell you one thing. There are certain standards that a lot of companies look out for, right? When they select a site or a city or a micro market, there is so much of study that already goes in, right? There has to be a sufficient ecosystem that has to be created. There is a specific standard of quality of the property that is prerequisite, minimum flow plates that are required, and of course approval. See, unfortunately, we've seen in the past a lot of people struggling with the approval point of view. My colleagues in Kochi and Trivandrum have toured pretty much every building at least 2 or 3 times a month with clients. But then automatically the client's demand gravitates towards the ecosystem like a info park or a techno park, because they know there are a lot of peers there. It is an ecosystem that is
more comfortable,
more comfortable,
enabling environment.
Talent. Even though these are markets that are a bit off from the bypass, they still feel that okay, they're in a safe zone, right? Redundancies, power backup, building maintenance, all of these play a very important role for any of the large enterprise when they are selecting their property. So my request to the industry leaders here is take inputs before putting up projects, right? What works, what does not work, what's the kind of tenancy you can get, what do tenants typically look out for, and how can they rejig their products to meet those demands. And it'll certainly come back, Najib. I'm
fine. So my final question to you would be, we had a CREDAI StateCon in March, just before the COVID actually, really ramped up, and we discussed a lot about co-working and stuff like that. And what you last mentioned, when do we see a CBRE really, thriving in Kerala, apart from your, property management and project management stuff?
Okay.
When do we see it from this point of view, what you're talking about, how to create that enabling environment, when do we see, a more frequent,
Najib,
rather than...
I don't want to jinx it. We are doing very well, and Kerala has, been a very clear strategy for us. It's very close to me. I'm from Trivandrum. Now that we need to really take the business high. In the last 5 years, we have done extremely well. Almost 1 in every 3 transactions that has happened in a techno park or an info park are driven by my colleagues who are there. And this year particularly, the demand has dried down simply because the need for real estate has gone down, right? And when you look at a tier 3 town or a tier B town, as we call it, the focus will certainly go down. But there are a few very clear indications that we are seeing. The whole thing of distributed workplace, right? Many of the companies, like what Nagaraj mentioned, many of the companies having large concentration, let's say in a Bangalore or in Chennai, are now rethinking and saying, can I create one center or an office in Kerala or in a Coimbatore that will actually meet the needs of my employees who are from that particular ecosystem, right? There's a huge talent base that we are having, right?
Absolutely.
And that plus the fact that from a BCP point of view, right, from a business continuity program point of view, the need to evaluate alternate cities will go up, and the work has already started. There is tremendous amount of data that is taken by the largest occupiers across the globe from us, saying, okay, where do you think we should be moving? Why do you think we should be moving there? And that's where success stories of companies who have set up shop in these markets and them being brand ambassadors and us advising clients really make the difference. And co-working will certainly be a quick need that will pick up. There are a few players. They are primarily local in nature, which slightly increases the risk for the occupier, because the occupier would prefer to hear known established names to be in these markets. And those brands are also evaluating for options in the Kerala market, because Trivandrum in particular is actually starving for space. Kochi, on the other hand, has got quite some space. Trivandrum has got very less.
I think you'll have a lot of developers listening to you. Will be now quite interested to connect and try and understand the possibilities better.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Wonderful. So thank you so much. It's very, very insightful. Now coming to our, sorry.
Najib, just one
Yes.
minute.
Yeah, please.
Just I
please.
want to, Amit Raj, continuation about the co-living and co-working.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I am developing on 2,000 beds of co-living.
Oh, okay.
Along with co-working also. See, I have tied up with one company called, the company brand itself is Co-Live, where Mr. Salarpuri Satwa is invested a huge amount in that company.
Yes.
So the work is started. The demand what they are getting, the response what they are getting, amazing. Even the big companies, they want to take up 100 rooms or 200 rooms, the workplace, so that during this COVID time also they want to put it in one particular place, and they are asking to work at home, stay in this room, and come to any conference call other to the co-working place. So it is a very good concept. Definitely it will work very well in Kerala, especially in Trivandrum and Cochin. Definitely it will do. Even if you want, now the central government is recently they have made one affordable rent scheme. Act itself they are introduced now, and they have requested all the state governments to accept that act. I think that will be, even Kerala also will accept that act. They are given more FSI, and the property tax and other thing is par with residential property. It is not coming under the commercial property.
Oh,
so
very
this
nice.
will definitely create, and even the small affordable 2-bedroom or a single bedroom apartment, if you have, that easily you can convert into the co-living. So there are big players. Anybody who wanted any reference, please let me know, so that I can ask that operators to come and contact. And it's a valuation game. What happens in NRIs, they purchase one single bedroom for 4,000 rupees, you will get 30 rupees rental per month.
Okay. So as long as the tie-up is done, yeah, it's just a fully fitted space, isn't it, Nagaraj?
Yeah. No, interiors are they are doing. We are doing only warm shell.
Warm shell. And it's a 1-bedroom concept or some kitchenette kind of studio kind of concept, is it?
No, common kitchen is there, and 1-bedroom is there, couple sharing is there, 2-bedroom sharing is there, 3-bedroom sharing also is there. End of the day, we are charging around 10,000 to 7,500 to 10,000 rupees with all the facilities.
Okay.
So I am developing 2,000 beds I am developing.
In fact, Najib, if this is marrying office and residence together, I'm sure Ms. Nagaraj would have to take care of redundancies, power backup, 2 lines of internet connection, safety parameters, CCTVs in the
cyber security.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's a lot of
ladies who are staying in PG accommodation, they are preferring to stay in co-living.
Oh, okay.
It's far better.
During this COVID period also, there is 100% occupancy. That company, what they are taken up, they are now lot of demand. They are putting lot of pressure on me to complete the work very fast.
Oh, fantastic! This is news. So that's great, Nagaraj. So we should. There's a lot of takeaway here. We need to,
Yeah,
see how best.
technical thing, anything if you need, please let me know
Sure,
so that
sure.
I can take care.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Yeah, and coming to now our banker, Mr. Das. Everybody, Mr. Das, are you there?
Yes, very much there.
Yes, sir. Need to see your face also, sir. Need to see the pulse. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, you've been sitting here for long. You right from the beginning you were there. Thank you so much. It's not the first time CREDAI, members are interacting with you. So and RBI and government and banks for that matter have taken the lead. SBI being the biggest bank. The pulse. There's something called banker's perception. I'm sure it has changed over the last 7-8 months, and the assessment and the ground realities and the risk perception, how and the sentiment in Kerala. These are a few things I want you to touch upon, and and the availability of funds, and where you heard Mr. Nagaraj and Mr. Amit speaking about these, not bread and butter, not pure residential, but other plays which takes little more gestation and certainties like that. How much risk weightage would you put to that, and what kind of moratorium would you work on? Okay, you can touch upon what you have to say, but then you can please cover these points as well.
Yeah, first of all, we all are aware about this Black Swan event, which has virtually disrupted our life. So, State Bank of India was the first bank who came up with the help to the builders as well as the community people, business people, and we started this common COVID emergency line of credit. If you remember, during the time which it came up in the month of April, we came up with the 10% of whatever limit you have. You can get immediate credit without any assessment, without any papers. You can just apply and get this 10%. And that suggestion we gave to Government of India also. And accordingly, Government of India came up with the GECL, Government Emergency Line of Credit. The GECL, which is there, that 20% of your outstanding as on 29th of February, you can get without much ado. Okay, so our circle, I think Kerala state was the first and foremost state in the state bank also to complete that target. We contacted almost each and every people who had the limit with us, who had availed the limit with us, and we asked them to avail of this credit. As a result, I think most of them availed of this credit. Okay. A few are left, and now that this GECL time has been extended up to 31st March.
Yes.
So I would request that anybody who is in no knowledge, you ask him, he can still avail of this loan. The second thing in this case, we had asked state government to waive or decrease the stamp duty on this, because particularly a small value ticket size, there say 1 lakh loan is taking, but 2,000, 3,000 rupees has to pay as a stamp duty. So for them it is not beneficial. So we requested the government, state government, that you either waive it or make it 50%, some concession you give in this case. In fact, yesterday also I reminded SES Finance that no decision has been taken by the government of Kerala on this. So that should come, I think. And then this government, as you know, that Government of India has already come up today also. They have announced this NIIF fund, whereby 6,000 crore equity the government is putting, and asking them, they have a target of giving loans to around 1,10,000 crore. They have the target of giving this. Okay. So in nutshell, I would say that there is no scarcity of fund for the builders within the state of Kerala. If anybody wants a loan, I think banks are easily giving the loans. So fund is not a problem. The problem is the demand side. Because right now I am finding that people are just waiting. My hunch is that so many people have come back from Gulf countries, okay, and there's a huge surge in our deposits. To tell you very frankly,
at a low cost, right, sir? CASA is very low, so you are able to lend also very low.
Very low.
Hopefully.
But what is happening is that the deposit side we have earned the 150% of the year-end budget. huge inflow of the NRI deposits which has come.
Nobody's coming and asking for money. That's the problem.
Nobody's asking for money.
That
Because
is
their
right.
spent is less. Their spent is less as of now, and perhaps they are waiting that to take a call on whether to buy a house, to start a business, perhaps they are in the state of taking a call.
No, so I want to understand. You are talking about two kinds of loan. One is home loan. Home loan surged, isn't it? I mean, we have seen
Home loans
now
have surged.
surged
Home
at the
loans have
lowest
surged.
cost, below 7%, 6.9 or 6.75%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we saw that also in your presentation, in the slide. So that is going well. But the business loan, that is for the people who want to start something new, have a multiplier effect to the economy, new projects or such kind of projects which have a little longer gestation period. You're saying that is not coming.
Yeah, infra projects are not coming up much. Infra projects are not coming up much.
So is this only for real estate projects or any project for them? Just to understand how the economy is.
No, any projects. Other projects also, infrastructure side, that not many projects are coming up as of now.
Okay,
But if you see the business side, I mean this MSME and all, there's a huge offtake. MSME also, again, there's a huge
So that is
offtake.
working capital. So you're talking there's
Working
a lot of
capital.
working capital demand is high. Term loan demand is lower because people are not certain when the demand is going to come up, or So is there risk weightage come down for businesses? How do you and would that determine how the repayments happen?
No, there is a huge stress on the repayment side. Coming to the banks, if you see, there is a huge stress on the repayment side of RE loans, because our accounts where the one installment or two installment default is there, because up to August there was a moratorium by the government. Okay, so they didn't have to pay anything, and their repayment has been extended, so they don't have to pay anything also from March to August. But September onwards, they need to pay. So there the stress is high. Most of the accounts, I think, they are in the SMA, either one installment default.
Is that a Kerala phenomenon or across the board, across the country?
It's across the board, but Kerala has a high magnitude. Kerala there is more. Kerala there is more.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it is because that we have a huge NRI base, and some of them have returned. They lost their jobs.
That's right.
They came back to Kerala, so that is causing the stress.
Okay.
So right now, in fact, we have been contacting everyone. We have been telling, if you can repay, you repay. If you don't have the money to repay, we have a restructuring scheme also in place right now, whereby we will restructure their loan and they can repay later on also.
Yeah, the time is a savior, sir. Time is a best healer in this case. So everything, how COVID also is going to, so, and people are more prepared going forward, knowing that a pandemic can hit and it's a reality. So it can happen again also. So the resistance improves. So time being the best healer, the banks all charge based on time value of money. So you're lending based on, so where is the trade-off? Now the matter is in Supreme Court. Obviously, still waiting for, certain concessions on the interest and stuff like that. Do you see any decisions taken by SBI which can, be a little more relief to whether it's a home buyer or to a developer?
So coming to payment of interest on interest, which was there in the Supreme Court, that is pending. So government had already filed that they will bear this cost, interest on interest cost. That is, compounding will not happen. Simple interest they have to pay, and the compounding cost will be borne by the government of India. And accordingly, we have already paid in all these accounts where this compounding was there. That amount has been credited to their accounts by the banks as well as by the credit card companies. That has already happened.
Okay.
So that has been done now, completed now.
Right. Okay. What about the other kind of projects which see some potential, which Mr. Nagaraj and Mr. Amit are talking about? Do you see the bank do you see confidence are you feeling confident that lending can happen to such kind of projects? And if so, at what?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is what is required. If it's one trend that we are seeing in the state of Kerala is that people are opting for the bigger houses now. Earlier, they were comfortable with the 2-room bedrooms. but now they want the office also inside their house. So they want more space. So there is demand for more space. Plus, suppose earlier in one room, say 3-4 people used to stay, but now because of this COVID restrictions, they want that there should be some social distancing also. So accordingly, there is demand for higher space. That is very clear. Secondly, what Mr. Nagarajan has said, that co-living, I think that is going to be the trend going forward, particularly in Kochi and Trivandrum, which are the big centers. I think the demand will be more there because people from outside, if they are coming and they have to stay there, this is one area where I think demand is going to come up. The second, which he has also pointed out, is that rental, affordable rental housing loan scheme.
ARP.
Okay, yeah. So that is again going to be in demand going forward. Third thing is PMAY. In fact, we have entered into an MOU with Kutumshri here in order to give a boost to the affordable housing. We already entered MOU, and we said that all those PMAY who are interested in taking loans, okay, we will provide the subsidy also, because Government of India has nominated a state bank as the subsidy distribution bank. So we have ready-made subsidy also available. So we have entered into a MOU saying that you give the applications and we'll give them housing loan immediately without much trouble.
Okay. So you're reaching to the grassroots level. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So I want to ask last question from me is, how has, with all this, you talked about NPA, has the auctions increased for the bank?
Auction, as you know, High Court has put an embargo on that. High Court of Kerala has put an embargo that no auction as of now. So right now it is a stop.
So that's a relief. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. Thanks. Any questions from our other panelists? Anthony, Nagaraj, you want to ask any questions, Krishnakumar, to Mr. Das? Okay. There are no questions. Amit, you want to say last words? Anything? Nagaraj, any last words?
No, I would suggest that bank is doing a lot for the credit offtake in the home loan segment. I enjoin upon all the builders also that you should also have some promotional activities along with us, so that the demand increases. We had to increase the demand because, as you have rightly said in the beginning, that if home loan increases demand, it's not only home loan, but you also have the construction activities. You also have the cement, other construction material increase also. So one of the ways of increasing the scale of economy is have more home loans, give them more home loans, so that the entire cascading effect of the economy can come in.
Wonderful, sir. We'll have to collaborate. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
President Krishnakumar, Radai, Kerala chairman, please note what Mr. Das is saying. We need to collaborate with SBI so that we can, highlight the value to the home loan customer, regarding the best available home loans.
Rajiv, in fact, we have already, initiated, or rather we are initiating one more meeting with, SBI, probably a larger, higher level meeting with SBI, with Mr. Mugendra and chair. In the next few days, we will have it, definitely.
Yeah, that will be very nice. Let us both work together to create a demand in the market.
Absolutely.
Sir, all these webinars, unless there is concrete action, people will it'll be time pass. So I think whatever lot of takeaways we have heard, there are some actionable points which definitely we'll, from our side, we will definitely work upon it. And let's see next time, 6 months down the line. That was my thought. 6 to 9 months. Where does Kerala? How does the situation look? Are there any workable projects which can meritorious projects which can actually take off? That is going to be the challenge. We need to
Yeah, one more request I had. In fact, I have a number of home loans where this equitable mortgage has not been created. Despite passing of more than 4 years, the equitable mortgages are still pending. That means registration of title deed has not yet happened.
Okay.
So from the builder side, if you can expedite this registration of the flats, I think that will help us in clearing all these irregularities which are there.
Sure. I think we should, from CREDA, I think we can send a letter, but I don't think the developer may be at, it may be the customer who's saying, may not be showing the interest. I think there could be a notice probably sent out from the banker for the bank to, because anyway he's making the repayment, the customer is making the repayment. But point well taken. I think we should all developers should be sensitive to that matter.
Ajit, can I make a point here?
Please.
See, as per the RERA guideline, you can register the property only after receipt of the occupancy certificate, unlike earlier.
Krishna Kumar sir, yes, I agree with you. But these are the projects which have been started long time back when RERA was not there.
Or registered.
RERA is applicable only to the recent projects.
Are you talking about completed projects, Mr. Das?
Both completed and uncompleted, even completed and uncompleted, both projects.
Okay.
So RERA is not applicable here in these cases.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Thank you so much.
So thank you all. It was a wonderful session. Appreciate the time taken out, Mr. Amit, Mr. Nagarajji, and Mr. Das. And over to Anthony for the final comments, closing comments, and vote of thanks.
Najib, it is too late. I must, in fact, appreciate everyone, for their patience. It's been a long afternoon. I must say that it's been a long time since we started this, webinar. Almost 3 hours. Just a few more minutes to go. We really had, in-depth discussion on ease of doing business, especially, real estate centric. We discussed a lot of points, and the right tone was set by our Chief Secretary, who definitely complained about, our poor ranking, but then said, even after having one of the best, governance award in the last couple of years, including this year. And though he did not mention specifically that, we've done so much of our reforms, the ease of doing business front. I heard Govind saying 157 reforms done by our state in the last 1 year itself. Even after that, we had a very poor ranking. He, in fact, Chief Secretary, pointed his finger at us. When I say at us, that the industry is saying that, we have not been supportive enough. The Chief Secretary definitely said the right on. He said, the government is with you. They will act as an enabler, and, the industry and the entire, government or the entire metro need to work, together as a team. According to him, ease of doing business is a wholesome exercise. Definitely, yes. It's for all of us to see that. He's been quite positive, or rather, very optimistic, saying that come December, you will see a major change. I don't understand in the next 1.5 months' time, what changes are going to come in. Whatever it is, we take it in the right spirit. We had a lot of, senior IAS officers, in our panel discussion. Majority of them, occupying quite, senior positions in the government, people who can do something, matters. So if what they said, if they practice and, if we also, join together in implementing it, I'm sure, we will definitely have, a great demand in our industry development or in our products, resulting in substantial growth in our GDP, investment, and definitely the employment opportunities. Banking, of course, is there to support us, and banking definitely is in for big growth. At the moment, the industry grows, bank do have plenty of opportunities there. I must thank, each of the panelists. I'm not naming anybody, specifically. I thank each of the panelists. Of course, you have 2-3 of them specifically. Rajay Dalal, Amit Raja, Nagraj, thank you for your time. Thank you for your valuable inputs. I must thank each and every other speakers, who's been here, who contributed substantially to this. Vicky for organizing this, event very well. And, we are specifically, in fact, this has been planned up to 6:30. We are on 6:27. We have a couple of more minutes to go. I don't know, how many of them are, still hanging on to this, webinar. And finally, to all our, participants for their, time and, patient attendance. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I wish you very happy and prosperous Diwali for all our members and your family members.
Oh,
Thank you, Nagaraj.
Wish everyone, happy Diwali.
And last but not the least, thank you to SPI for the sponsorship of the event.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, and happy Diwali.
Happy Diwali to all of you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to close this. Leave it.